Okay, everyone happy with that?
Yep.
Anything further from that meeting?
Yes, please.
Go
This
on.
is also, is that me? Hello?
Indeed. Yeah, go for it, Councillor Shergood.
Thank you, Mayor. 3.2, is the live streaming operational?
No.
This is from Code of Practice.
CEO, you got an answer?
Through the Mayor, we are not live streaming this meeting. We are, though, recording the meeting.
So we're not, because in the actual Code of Practice it says it must at all times be able to hear and be heard by each of the electoral members and will ensure a live stream of the council or committee meeting is made available to the public.
And it will
So
be.
that's actually, it's okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
Any more from that meeting? So I go to the minutes of the meeting of the 2nd of the 4th special council meeting. Would someone like to move that be confirmed, please? Hand up. Councillor Pledge, second to Councillor Walcombe. All in favour? Hands up.
Hang on, no, there's an error.
Yes.
There's an error in that one.
Okay, please point out the error.
Yes, please, thank you. At that meeting, the Mayor pointed out that the relevant person to contact was not the South Australian Government, but the Police Commissioner.
That's
Yeah,
right.
State Controller, yes.
Yep.
And that's not recorded. The way it's recorded is that it was the South Australian Government which was being requested.
It should be the State Controller. I thought that had been sorted out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
that's
can
why
we
I'm
amend
pointing
that,
this
please?
out.
That'll be
Have
amended,
you got
Councillor Shergood.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Yep,
All
thank
right.
you.
So that's been confirmed. Business arising. Matters laying on the table, item 4.9. No, not raising that. The Mayor's report. Before we move that for information, can I just point out that the item, the 16th of the 3rd and the 28th of the 3rd, though they were in the diary, neither of those meetings actually took place. So where it says attended meeting is actually incorrect because I didn't. Okay, just so delete them. So would someone like to move the Mayor's report we received for information? Thank you, Councillor Pledge. Second to Councillor Denholm. All in favour? That's
Yes,
anyone have any questions on that? Comments?
yes,
Yes, which one?
yes, I do.
Yes, go on.
Thank you. I just want to know a little bit about the meeting with the Japanese delegation.
Yeah, that's a good question. It didn't take very long, actually. They,
Okay.
yeah, look, it was a non-event, quite frankly. I've got nothing of substance to report on it whatsoever. They came in here and said hello. One person, it actually fell apart because the delegation couldn't come, so there was only one chap. Okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank
But
you
it's
for
in
that.
the diary, that's why it's on the printout.
Thank you very much.
No? Councillor update. Did any councillor have anything they wanted to update council on? Councillor Walcombe first, then Councillor Denholm.
Yes, just a mini study on the effectiveness of the government encouragement of people not to attend Kangaroo Island for Easter. Looking across Eastern Cove at this time of the year, there's typically 5 to 7 twinkly lights, house lights, can be seen on a weekend. On Good Friday night, it increased to 28.
Right, okay. Yeah, well, I can make comment also. I did a bit of a look around over Easter. There was really no one at Emu Bay. I also had Island Beach covered by a couple of people. There was few, if any, there. I'm not sure about Penny-Shore. But on the roads, I was out Friday and out again Sunday. Well, we got past 4 cars on Friday, are all locals. and 3 cars on Sunday, one of whom I didn't know, but I suspected was a Blazade vehicle. So really, the visitors just didn't come. So the strategies worked pretty well, I think. Okay, Councillor Walken.
Well, somebody went round switching house lights on at Island Beach.
Yeah, look, I can't say whether they're there or not, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Mm. Now, Councillor Denholm.
Thank you, Mayor Ben Gilly. Yes, of course, I think we're all suffering from the effects of isolation, and it certainly has decreased my activities, and also too that we have had no Progress Association meetings, which I regularly attend, the PPA, that's the Peninsula one, and the Morden Beach Progress Association. I must admit that there's quite a lot of concern in with the Peninsula Progress Association about there is no progress being made to their satisfaction with the solar panels. The Health Advisory Council, we held our last meeting last week on Zoom, and there's no significant actions, and we're still awaiting a response from the council to the request that we made to the council regarding hospital access from the Esplanade.
Okay.
The Fluoro Regional Waste Authority, we had our board meeting, also by...
Can you turn your head towards the computer, please, Councillor Denholm? It's hard to hear you.
I'm just trying to read at the Fluoro Regional Waste Authority board meeting. At that board meeting, we approved our draft annual business plan, our draft budget, and our draft strategic plan. Now, these are to be approved by the constituted councils for adoption at our next board meeting on the 27th of May. I was rather disappointed to note that they are not on our agenda for a resolution or adoption by this council at this time. Now, just a few brief points. Kangaroo Island estimated increased costs for next budget are up some 5%, and the total charges are estimated to be about just under $1.7 million. And the year-to-date figures, there has been an overall diversion rate of 44%, and I think that we should deserve a pat on the back for that. And the in-vessel composter is working well, and all's well with the green bin and the FOG collections. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask the CEO to make comment on Peninsula Progress, then I'll go to Councillor Teasdale.
Yeah, through the Mayor, I am surprised that Peninsula Progress have indicated to you that we haven't made any progress in that matter, because we've got a meeting set up as recently as next week to further discuss the concerns at hand. So once we've further discussed an outcome with the Progress Association, we will be reporting back to council accordingly.
I think there's a few ducks and drakes going on with it, quite frankly. Councillor Teasdale.
Thank you, Mayor Pengilly. I just want to report that during the week of 9 to 14 March, I participated in 5 events associated with the visit of Sophie Thompson, the gardening guru, and her team, including the opening of the community garden at Pandana. Overall, it was a very successful visit. I think it contributed significantly to the recovery effort, and council staff played a very useful role in that, and I'd personally like to thank Pat Austin, Sarah Marr and Tanya Tweeden for all that they did to facilitate that visit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I just perhaps suggest, Councillor Mumford, yes?
I had a meeting with a bloke from Green Industries the other day, because we've got this steel dump at Northside that every man and his dog's been dropping steel off.
Yep.
And there'd currently be about best part of 500 tonne of steel sitting there. And the bloke from Green Industries said, oh, well, it looks like we're going to have to pick the whole lot up and cart it out to Goss, because this isn't a recognised area, so we're not going to come and squash it. So it seems ludicrous to go and pick the whole lot up and cart it all out to Goss when there'd be 2 weeks for a squasher just in that one spot. So I think it's stupid, the whole idea of double handling all this stuff when we can just treat it all in one side.
So I'd suggest Councillor Mumford make contact with Rob Manton, who is arriving on the island today, the new recovery coordinator. I think have a discussion with him about that and see if we can't get some common sense into it, because I agree with you, there's no point shifting it 20 Ks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just, Mrs. Putland, sorry.
Yes, I'm just wondering whether Alan or I would be best to follow that up on behalf of Councillor Mumford with Brower and Green Industries and the recovery.
I'd suggest that you take it up initially with Mr. Manton, as he's the head kicker and he will kick heads. So I'd do that and then just go back to Councillor Mumford. Can you please?
Yes, we're happy to do that.
Thank you. Can I just ask, and I've been trying to do it myself, but if you're in a town or near a town, just keep in touch with the Progress Association so they know we're still here. Pretty important. You can't go to meetings, they're not having meetings, but I had an issue this morning with the Pandana Show Society and the Pavilion and electrical matter, which Mr. Harvey and company have sorted quite rapidly. It's going to need some maintenance out there. So it's really important that we keep Pandana, American River, Emu Bay, etc., in the loop as much as possible with the odd phone call. You're not going to run into them in the shop, I don't think. Okay.
Okay.
Questions? Who's that?
Hang on, I've got an update.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to talk about a gathering I attended, which
Yes.
made a very, very deep impression on me. It was addressed by returned soldiers, and the theme was about Anzac. The men spoke of the struggle to gain and maintain freedom, won in the blood of war, and they spoke very earnestly because they were returnees. And they said that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And they exhorted us to never forget the price they had paid and to be constantly on guard for the enemy that may come from within the country, that is. Now, these meetings were held annually, and Michael, you might remember them, in the square of the front of the Kingsgate Area School.
Gosh.
I was a
Not that
child.
old.
I was a child, but I was there, and the words of those men, they still ring in my mind. And that partly explains why I act as I do in council. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Shergin. Yeah, I do actually remember them in front of the old building in Kingsgate. But
Yeah.
what happens these days is, well, I don't know what's happened the last year or two, but Dave Manser was at one time used to go to the schools regularly and address the students on before Anzac Day. Something Mr. Councillor Denholm with his other hat on can actually pick up on.
That's a very good proposition. Thank you, Mayor.
I actually wanted to pick up on Anzac Day. I might do that now, if you don't mind, councillors, because although there's no official functions, it's my intention to try and lay a wreath or get some wreaths and get them laid either by myself or someone else at Penny-Shaw, American River, Kingsgate and Pandana. I think we need to do that to make sure that the day is recognised. So I'll talk to Councillor Denholm with his other hat on after this, and make note and talk with the PA and Mrs. Grimes about getting some wreaths, because that's Saturday week. Okay, questions from the gallery. Well, I'm in here and there's no one apart from me, so I can't see a gallery. There'll be no questions from the gallery. Petitions, there are none. Item 8, questions from elected members are there, and I think from memory they're all answered. So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah. Yes.
My question is, I was a bit confused about the conflicting figures given in question 1 and in the answer of question 1. Just wonder if that could be clarified.
Yep. CEO or Mrs. Butland, can you clarify that, please? This is in relation to the claims by Mr. Clements.
Yeah.
Yes, administration came to the amount of $1,055.79 after it looked into the payments. It was found on 3 occasions that it should have required a council motion, and that was what the figure had came to.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Righto. So, as I said, those questions have all been answered. So we'll move on from there.
I have one more question.
Yes.
I have one more question,
Yes.
and this is regarding answer 6.
Answer.
Sorry. It regards answer 6 on page 10. The administration are unable to categorically answer this question, and I felt that was a bit disturbing. I just wondered why, because I thought the administration would actually know the answers to this.
I'll ask the CEO to make comment.
Thank you.
Yes, Greg can answer. There was no resolution from the audit committee that noted specifically the ICAP Act. That's why we've provided the answer there that we have.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Righto. So we shall move on, councillors, to page 19. Questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice? Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon, Councillor Walkham and Councillor Denholmes.
Yes, on page 14, in response to question 1, I remain very concerned that there is minor works happening around towns that is not looking as if it meets any standards at all. And at the moment, it's happening by a third party digging up our roads, or that's how it appears, and that it appears to be a contractor for South Australian Water. I would earnestly hope that council hands them a specification as to what we require. But what we've actually got, if we look at Dauncey Street going past the post office and up around the corner, is perhaps 2/3 of the reinstatement work, unbitumised as yet, but compacted surface, appears satisfactory, it appears good standard, but then there appears to be a very poor result as far as mixing the materials, and it's honeycomb, and it will not take any form of emulsion or bitumen sitting on top of that material. It will just run straight into it. Now, this is our main street in Kingscote. So could I get a little bit more information as to what our standards are and how we're enforcing those standards? I know years ago when council were doing reinstatement works in American River following the CWMS project there, that DIPTI took us to task for only reinstating the trench, whereas in actual fact they said their standards are from crown to curb. The final seal has to be from crown to curb. Otherwise, the trench just pulls, the edge pulls away and you get water into the trench, you get subsidence. So I'm looking for a far better answer to question 1 in regard to that is an example on page 14.
Okay, so if dissatisfied with the answer, I'll get councillor officers to take that on board. So technically speaking, with questions on notice, the questions there, the answers, and if you're not satisfied with the answer, of course you can seek further explanation. You also have the opportunity when we get into the reports, wherever it is, a bit later on in the agenda, to raise them as well. but I'll ask Mr. Harvey if he wishes to make brief comment now, to do so, otherwise to provide an explanation to Councillor Walcombe.
Okay, through the Mayor, we have accurately answered the question that was set out to us. What's been asked of us now is something quite different and quite specific to a location. And we can take that on board and we can get back to you with information specifically on the SA Water reinstatements.
Okay, Councillor Walcombe, and then Councillor Denholm was next. Councillor Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pengelly. I have a question without notice relating to the Fluoro Regional Waste Authority. Now, our charter, which Kangaroo Island Council is a party to, has a requirement that the draft annual budgets must be submitted to the Constitution Councils by the 31st of March. Now, we've done that. Now, the annual business plan and the budget and strategic plan must be approved by the Fluoro Board at its next meeting on the 27th of May. My question is, as a matter of urgency, can these documents be made available to elected members for their perusal so that we can actually have a resolution of approval of these items so that they can be handled at our board meeting where we approve all this prior to the end of the financial year?
Well, I hear what you're saying, Councillor Denholm. Can I just say that your first priority is the Kangaroo Island Council, not the Fluoro Regional Waste, and also that despite your passion for it, and that there has been a few things happening over here, including fires, so I'm not quite sure where officers are. Whether Mrs. Putland's indicated she's going to make a comment, so I'll go to her for response, Councillor Denholm.
Thank you.
Through you, Mayor, yes, the information was intended to be in the agenda today. We decided to take it out. We discussed it with the Executive Officer of FRAWA, and he advised that we can present it to the May meeting and it would still meet the requirements of the FRAWA board. So we intend to present the information at an informal gathering and then follow it up with a subsequent council meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Denholm.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pengelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question without notice on the roadside, or the road grading program. Is there a program? I did look on the website and couldn't find anything, but I'm wondering if there is such a program and whether that could be put into weekly matters so that people have some idea of when the grader may be out their way next.
Yeah, I had this question raised with me by Councillor Mumford, who's got his hand up again. Councillor Mumford? Councillor Mumford?
The grader has been passed here. Yeah, the grader has been passed here, and he has done a lovely job.
No, you're weak and unbearable. Weak and unreadable. Sorry, I couldn't understand.
Unbearable. I said
No.
the grader has been passed here, and he's done a fantastic job.
That's better. Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Mumford. Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to point out that question on notice the answer must not discuss under the meeting regulation. Not allowed.
I was trying to point that out a while ago.
Melissa can confirm that.
Yeah. Okay. Nothing further. No further questions without notice.
Yes, I've got some.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yep.
Oh, thank you. The first question I've got is that I noticed that the format of the confidential minutes has changed in a manner which makes it appear to be an independent meeting, but still with the commencement time of 11 a.m. So I'm a bit confused about the format of the confidential minutes, and I just wondered why they've got a new format which makes them appear as though they're an independent meeting, but with the time of the original meeting.
Oh, I'd have to ask the CEO for that. Yeah.
Look, I'm not that close to it through the Mayor. I will need to get the personal assistant to answer that if possible.
Yes, thank you.
Take it on notice.
Yep, take it on notice. Sarah?
Okay, second question. Could you please explain to me why the CEO claims authorship of questions on notice and motions on notice put up by elected members? I just want to understand why that happened.
Sorry, I didn't get.
I didn't. No, we can't hear the question. I'm sorry. Can you say that again, Councillor Shergood?
Yes, I will. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Good. I just want an explanation as to why the CEO claims authorship of questions on notice and motions on notice put up by elected members.
Well, he's the administrator, and it's his role to put them into the agenda, to get the answers and put them in there. Or in the case of a motion, to put them in there. That's his job. He orchestrates the agenda.
Yes, but I noticed that some of the other items are put up by different authors.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure where you're coming from. Questions on notice come from elected members and are answered by the administration and staff. The CEO takes care of that, and again with notices of motion, they fed into the administration, and the CEO takes carriage of putting them in the agenda.
Well, why didn't that happen at 18.4? I'm just confused. I just want to understand why this happened.
18.4. What page are you on?
18.4 was the last thing on our agenda for today, I think.
Oh, yeah, question. Yeah, notice of motion.
Yeah.
Have you got a page for that, please? Or can we wait till we get there and perhaps ask when we get there? That might be the better thing to do. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, sorry, Mrs. Putland and Mrs. Grimes are waving their hands, and also Mrs. Ma. Who wants to go first?
We could probably answer that. The reason the notice of motion is considered under 18.4 is because it relates to a confidential resolution, and therefore the notice of motion needed to be considered in confidence, and that's why sitting there.
Yep. Perfectly good explanation, I think. Okay, no further questions without notice? No?
No, thank you.
We'll move on to reports of committees. Item 9.1, the voting facility committee. There is a 6-point recommendation there. Would someone like to move that?
I want them put up individually.
I'm happy to move this one if you want to. So the first one is Council receive and notes the minutes from 5th of March. Someone like to move it? Councillor Mumford, Councillor Pledge, all in favour?
Yes.
Sorry, call for debate on that. I beg your pardon. Is there anyone wish to speak for or against it? It's a little bit difficult here, I can assure you. Item number 2, Council adopts recommendation, etc. You've all got it in front of you, haven't you?
Yeah, so moved.
Councillor Pledge. Is there a second to Councillor Teasdale? Thank you. All in favour?
No, not in favour.
You're not in favour?
No, not at all. Noting
well,
that...
once again, I hesitate. I didn't give opportunity for debate, so perhaps I should go back and ask if the mover wishes to speak in favour of it.
No, it's from the voting committee.
Is there a speaker against?
Yes. We're facing perilous times with the state of some of our launching facilities, and also with the economics. And I just think to increase the charges is running counter to what the government is suggesting, because Mr. Marshall's talking about reducing fees and charges and things to make it bearable for people. So for that reason, I don't agree.
Okay, well you have the capacity within you to move an amendment to that if you wish to, Councillor Shergood. Councillor Mumford.
I don't know.
What if we just put the motion?
You want the motion put? It's been priority motion. The motion be put. All in favour of the motion? Raise your hands, please. That's 7-4. Against?
Me.
That's 1 against. The motion is carried. I'll move on to item 3. Would someone like to move that recommendation, please?
Mr.
Councillor
Mayor,
Lou? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, item number 9.1, number 3 is illegal because the council cannot consider a budgetary matter at the present time until the budget is adopted. Therefore, I would like to move that the recommendation be considered at the 2020-21 budget meeting.
Okay, I'm happy to accept that motion, Councillor Lou. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Tigerman. Now, did you
We repeat.
did the PA and staff get that motion?
I'd like to repeat. You need to read.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Ma, did you get that down?
I've got for resolution number 3 that the recommendation being considered at the 2021 budget meeting.
That's correct.
You happy with that, Councillor Lou?
Yes.
Does anyone wish to speak for or against that motion? No? In that case, I'll put the motion. All in favour, raise your hands or say yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Shergood. That's carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 4. Is there a mover for that recommendation?
Yes.
Councillor Denholm, seconded Councillor Walcombe. Did you wish to speak for it, Councillor Denholm?
I think it's worthwhile because there are some doubts as to the suitability and the safety aspects of Gordon Beach Ramp, and I think that that plan should be instituted.
Is there a speaker against? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour, raise your hands or say yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Item number 5. Is there a mover for this particular motion?
Yes.
Councillor Pledge. Seconded Councillor Mumford. Did you wish to speak for it, Councillor Pledge?
No, it's helps us as a council, saying that they're at their own risk.
Is there a speaker against?
I'd like to ask.
Hang on. I've got a hand up there, Councillor Lou. Are you speaking against?
Now, I'd like to move an amendment.
Yes.
At the end of the motion, I would like to add, subject to advice from the local government mutual liability scheme.
Well, would the mover and the seconder, rather than make an amendment, would the mover and the seconder be happy to have that incorporated into the motion?
So advice from the local
The local government mutual liability scheme.
Sounds fine.
You happy with that? Councillor Walcombe, you happy with that?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Councillor speaking for or against?
I have a question. I need a
Yes.
clarification.
Yes.
What is the costings of this going to be?
I'll have to ask administration.
It's a sign, probably $1,000.
Just a minute, Councillor Mumford. I need an answer from administration, please.
Sure. Through the mayor, the cost of a sign and a pole and the erection, I don't think it wouldn't even amount to $1,000. I think it would be less than that.
Okay, Councillor Mumford.
It'll be a lot cheaper than the liability if someone comes to grief there without the sign.
Yes.
Oh, I have to apologise. I was looking at number 6.
Oh, righto.
I thought we were dealing with 6, so I do apologise.
Well, your apologies noted and accepted.
Thank you.
So can we put number 5? All in favour? 5, please?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. That's carried. Number 6. Now, would someone like to move number 6, please? Hand up, Councillor. Thank you. Seconded by, is there a seconder? Councillor Tigerman. Now, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Walcombe?
No.
Is there a speaker against?
That's where my question came in. I asked the question at the wrong time.
Right.
My question was to do
I'll accept your question. They were in the middle of the motion. I'll ask, you've asked a question. Would you like to address your question again, please?
Yes. I just want to know about the costings of number 6.
Yep. Okay, which I think's been answered, but yeah, unless anyone's got a query, I'll accept the answer that was given before. Councillor Denholm?
I have got a query and a reservation. Why do we have to specifically have this number 6 relating to the Emu Bay? I would imagine that we should have maintenance schedules for all our boat ramps. And why are we specifically only referring to Emu Bay?
Does staff want to clarify that, or I'll go back to Councillor Walcombe? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yes,
can-
Councillor Walcombe.
I can clarify that because I instigated this on the committee, and I think we're all very much aware that Emu Bay has a lot of potential to go pear-shaped, and if there's any prospect of noting those potential difficulties which we know we have got there early, a in time basis there more than any other boat ramp is my belief and the reason for moving that.
So I take that you're speaking in favour, obviously, Councillor Walcombe. Councillor Lew, did you have a question or speak for or against?
No, I'd like to move an amendment that the recommendation be deferred to the budget meeting.
To the?
Be deferred to the budget.
Okay.
Consideration.
So you're moving an amendment that this matter be deferred to budget proceedings. Is there
Correct.
a seconder for that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Seconder, Councillor Pledge.
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yep.
my reason for the amendment, as we don't really know the cost of the consulting fee, and then I think that it should be considered in the budget.
Okay. Is there a speaker against the amendment?
Yeah.
Councillor Walcombe.
I think time's of the essence here, and we should not be messing around with maintenance inspections and deferring them. That ramp is highly vulnerable coming into winter, and we need a established maintenance program there that can be followed meticulously.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask administration, Mr. Harvey or Mr. Georgopoulos, just clarified on what the position of administration is into this without interfering with the amendment.
Yeah, through the Mayor, I understand that we do have a maintenance checklist on the way. I understand that that's to be generic, but it is coming. So that's already in hand. That's not specific to Emu Bay. But yeah, that's definitely on its way. That will then be adopted by our staff who then undertake those inspections. That motion seems to include aspects of Emu Bay in relation to engineering advice. So all I can advise at the moment is that there is a maintenance checklist on the way.
Okay, well, I thank you for that response. I do have an amendment in front of me. Can you just read out the amendment, please, PA?
This matter be deferred to the 2021 budget meeting.
All right, so unless there's any more speakers for or against, I'll put that amendment. Councillor Lew, did you wish to speak?
No.
Okay. All in favour of the amendment, put your hands up, please. That's 1, 2 in favour. Against, please raise your hands. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with you, Councillor Shergoin, against the amendment. So
Yes.
the amendment is lost.
Yes.
We go back to the motion. The motion is outlined there. I'll put the motion now. All in favour of the motion?
Okay.
Can you raise your hands, please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against. Councillor
No,
Sherwin?
I'm for.
Oh, you're for.
No,
So that's
yes,
okay.
yes,
The motion is carried.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Need to squeak or something.
A button.
Item 9.2, the Airport Management Committee, a hole in the ground that sucks up money. Are you
I
happy?
want them
Beg your pardon?
no, I want them separate.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll ask someone to move number 1. Move Councillor Mumford, second to Councillor Pledge. Any debate? If not, all in favour, raise your hands or
Yes.
speak up.
Yes,
Thank you. It's carried. Item number 2. Someone like to move, please? Councillor Pledge. I need a second to Councillor Teasdale. Thank you, Councillor Teasdale. Any debate? All in favour? That's carried.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry, Councillor Lee. I'll hold off on the vote. Yes.
I think that the word runway should be added before the damage, so that it will be, so the motion is much clearer, because the damage of what. So therefore, I would like to move an amendment to include the word runway before the word damage.
I'm not. Yeah, just.
If you look at,
Just read it out, Councillor Lou, as amended, will you please? I'm having trouble hearing.
Okay, I would like to make an amendment to
Yeah.
that the Airport Management Committee receive the runway damage, extra word runway damage from offshore.
The runway damage report, you mean, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's clear enough. That's an amendment. Is there a seconder for the amendment? Second
Yeah.
amendment. Any speakers for or against the amendment? If not, I'll put the amendment. All in favour, raise your hands.
yep,
Thank you. That's carried. Okay, item 3. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Mumford, thank you. Is there a second to Councillor Denholm? Any debate? If not, all in favour? That's carried.
yep.
Item number 4. Is there a mover?
Need some more information.
No, I'm not asking for that at this
No,
stage.
I move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Denholm. Is there a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Mumford. Right. Did you have a question, Councillor Richard? Councillor Richards. Councillor Sherwood.
I just wanted a bit more information about it.
Well, I'll have to ask to get that provided. Is there? And can any officer give me more information on that? No. No answer was a stern reply. We'll take that up later. We'll proceed with the motion now, I think, and we'll
Okay.
just ask that officers supply further information.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
if there's no further debate, all in favour?
Yes,
Carrick, thank you. Item 5. That'd be working. Councillor Pledge is moving.
And second.
Second to
Conflict.
Councillor Denholm. Beg your pardon, Councillor Mumford?
Sorry, just saying I got conflict.
Okay, declare it possible, yeah, okay.
I'm
Does
against
anyone
it.
wish to speak for or against this motion?
Against it.
No, I haven't said that yet. You want to
sorry.
speak? I haven't put it to the vote yet.
Well,
Right, I'll put it to the vote. All
Yeah,
in favour, raise your hands, please.
What? Hey, I said I want to speak against it.
Well, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, Councillor Shergan. I've got no one in the room, the hearing aids on, and I couldn't hear you. So if you wish to speak against it, please do so now.
I said I wish to speak against it,
Righto.
please.
Okay, righto. Will you go ahead and speak?
Thank you very much. I'm really concerned about this because that airstrip is on private property and I believe it should remain that way. I don't think council should take on any more than it can chew, and I think council's already got more on its plate than it can handle. And so I believe that it's best that Sam has the right to look after his own property in the way that he chooses, but I don't think council should be getting involved in this property at this time.
Well, Councillor Shergon, I hear what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is that it may well be done by the state and the CFS. They are the ones Councillor Mumford will make available. So this was a matter not for council to spend money on, but to hopefully pursue the option of having some work done there funded by the state.
Yeah.
I get that, but I foresee great troubles occurring because with council's involvement in it comes all the council regulatory processes and the bureaucracy and so forth. While it's in the hands it is at the present, then it gives a lot more flexibility of management to the owner, and I think it's too valuable to lose out to bureaucracy. Thank you.
Okay, you can vote against. So I'm going to Mrs. Butland. She wants to make comment.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Councillor Mumford declared an interest, so really,
Is he choosing to
is he choosing to stay in the meeting because he'll need to vote?
He can move 2 feet to one side,
Leave the meeting.
so I can't see him. Move further. Okay. Okay, Councillor Walker, you had your hand up.
Yes, I think that this should be factored in. I'm speaking against the motion. I think Councillor Churgwin's on the money here. The Turkey Lane airstrip should feature in future firefighting efforts, but it's premature to be involved in that yet. We've got CFS and a state inquiry and a royal commission and whatever else, and I'm sure there will be a total review of firefighting resources and facilities and that coming out of this. So yeah, I don't support this one.
Okay, so Councillor Pledge.
All we're really asking for right now is a proposition from a way of utilising that airport.
So yeah. What if I can help, if I can assist council with some words here, you may want to change it so that it reads along the lines of that council writes to the Country Fire Service and asks them to look at the issues regarding Turkey Lane airstrip and let them come back with something out of that. That absolves us from doing anything, spending any council money, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, is that an idea or not?
I think that's a reasonable alternative motion. If this one's voted down, I would support that.
Well, if you want it, someone wants to put it as amendment, I can't move it.
I do that as amendment.
You'd move that, Councillor Lou?
Yeah. As an amendment, you are suggest.
Okay. Is there a seconder for the amendment? Councillor Teasdale. Does anyone wish to speak for or against the amendment? All right, I'll put the amendment. All in favour, please raise your yes or no.
Yeah, I like it.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Councillor Shergwin?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you, that's carried. So would someone like to ask Mr Mumford to return, Councillor Mumford to return to his station?
Mr Mayor, just
Yes.
to
Amendment.
clarify.
The amendment, I've got to go back and move the motion. Yeah,
Yes,
sorry, the
I missed
amendment.
that.
Sorry,
Yes,
Councillor
Sam,
Mumford,
please
I'll put
leave.
my hand over you. The amendment becomes the motion. All in favour of the motion, please? Yes, 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 yes. Councillor Shergwin, yes?
Yeah, that's what we just said, isn't it? The amendment.
Yeah, no, the amendment's become the motion, so we're just formalising it.
Okay. That's
Mrs
right.
Ma's
Yeah, that's
got
good.
a hand up. Yes.
Please repeat
Thank you.
the motion with the amendment.
Yeah. So the amendment, which has now become the motion, is that council write to the CFS asking them to look at their capacity or investigate the further use of Turkey Lane airstrip or words to that effect. So it doesn't cost us money, basically, and they can negotiate. Everyone's clear on that?
Necessity.
Yeah. So that's carried. All right. Welcome back to the meeting, Councillor Mumford. He's gone. He's back. Item number 6. Is there someone like to move that?
happy.
Councillor Walkham and Councillor Denholm. Did you wish to speak for it?
No.
No, pretty straightforward. All in favour? All hands up. Councillor Sherwin, yes. Carried.
No, no.
Are you voting against it, eh?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
one
sorry.
against. The motion's
Yeah,
carried.
thank you. Thank you.
Item number 7. Councillor Walkham, you're moving?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Denholm. Councillor Teasdale, I know you're hiding down the bottom of my screen, so if I miss you, I'm sorry. That's better. I thought you were asleep for a minute. We can't hear you. You're muted as well. So, okay, thank you. Moved and seconded. Did you wish to speak for that?
I'd just like some more information. Just a quick up of what they actually came out with.
Well, we haven't had the brainstorming session yet.
Yes,
We have.
You have?
Oh, they have, I beg your
we
pardon.
have.
Sorry, mental block. Yeah. So we can make that available. Mrs. Maher? We can make that available. So now I'll put that motion. All in favour? Raise your hands, please. Against?
Yeah.
You're against, Councillor Sherwin?
Well, I don't know what they said, so I can't sort of support something that I'm ignorant of.
Well, I'm sorry, but Mr. Georgopoulos. No, you're muted. You're muted, CEO. You're muted.
I don't know. Sorry about that.
I didn't say muted, I said muted.
Probably both after this. Through the Mayor, we will redistribute the minutes for Councillor Sherwin to pursue. Yep.
Okay. All right. So we move on, councillors, to page 9.3, the
Can I
special
move them
audit
on block,
risk.
please?
I'm sorry?
Can I move them on block?
Yes. You'd like to move on block, Councillor Mumford, second to Councillor Pledge. Is there any questions?
No!
I haven't put it to the vote yet.
I didn't.
Did you wish to speak against it?
I cannot agree with them being moved on block, and you can't do that to a councillor. You can't just say we're going to move it over the top of all the councillors. So
Well,
I do not.
Councillor
I do not
Mumford has
agree.
moved that we adopt recommendation 1 and 2 in a whole. Councillor Sherwin.
Well, I disagree. I want them presented separately.
Well, I'm not prepared. I've got the motion to take them as a block, and unless that goes down, I intend to take it that way.
No, you can't do that because the council.
You can.
Can I move motion 1 so we can get this done?
Sorry, Councillor Mumford.
Can I move motion 1 so we can get this done?
And I'll
Yes.
second.
Yeah.
Okay. All in
Second.
favour?
Yep.
Yes.
That's carried.
Can I
And,
move motion 2 so we can get this done?
Yes.
No, I want debate.
Well, if you shut up and let me find a seconder, you might get
Okay,
one.
I'll second.
Excuse me.
I'll second.
You'll second it, Councillor Pledge. You wish to
Yes.
speak in favour of it, Councillor Mumford? Appellate.
We've gone right through this with the audit committee and we've put it out to tender and we've come back with, out of the 7 tenders or whatever it was, we come back with the top 2 and we've had a meeting with them and Galpin's ended up winning hands down as being what we all believe was the best outcome for the council.
Yes, I agree with that. Councillor Sherwin, did you wish to speak against?
Yes, I would like to give a reason for my objection, and that being that so often appointments go pear-shaped, and yet we're locked into long-term contract arrangements. And so I was hoping to make an amendment that provided flexibility and had an out for both parties. I thought that perhaps if it was subject to a 12-month, I can't think of the right word, like an internship, but I can't think of the right word, then we could make a decision on a long-term basis. But I just felt that it was risky to actually lodge ourselves in for such a long time when it could easily go pear-shaped, as often these things do. And we have got a history of that.
So you're
that's why I'd
speaking
like
against it? Yep.
I
I'm going
am,
to
and I
make a
would have
comment
liked-
here, Councillor Sherwin. Councillor Shergin,
Yep.
the Audit and Risk Committee put a huge amount of work and time into this over 2 meetings to get it right. And any councillor is welcome to sit on the Audit and Risk Committee. You weren't there. It was just the Audit and Risk Committee. I'm not going to go and reinvent the wheel at a council meeting when all that work's been done and all the information was supplied. I think it actually flies in the face of the Audit and Risk Committee's credibility, quite frankly. Councillor Walcombe?
I'd like to comment, if you'll accept it, a comment for the reasoning, well, certainly my logic behind this. The tenders were called for 5 years, and I was, when the committee went this way for a 3+2, I was, now the 5 years is provided a price for 5 years, so they can get their teeth into it and continue across. And that's a large part of the cost. And when the committee decided to go 3+2 for the very reasons you're talking about, Councillor Shergin, I was nervous that this particular tenderer could possibly come back to council and say, we tendered for 5, not for 3+2, we want more money.
Okay.
So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
So I intend to put the motion, councillors. I think we've had enough time on this. All in favour of the recommendation, raise your hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Against?
Yes, I'm against.
Right, 1 against. The motion is carried. I move on, councillors, to item 10, the CEO's report.
So moved.
Move, Councillor Sedgwick, Councillor Mumford. All in favour? That's
Yes.
carried. Just going through that report, on page 31, were there any questions or CEO wish to make any comment?
Yes.
No? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, which
Definitely.
item? Sorry?
The first one, I see the CEO has apparently gone to a meeting, a Marxist meeting called Global Empowerment, and I'm just wondering who authorised the attendance at that meeting. And I'd like to see a full report of the meeting.
Do you wish to make comment on that, Mr. Georgopoulos?
Yes, I can. It was a group that came across to donate vouchers to the Pandana community. That was the meeting that I think you're referring to, Councillor Shergin. So they donated around $70,000 worth of vouchers.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have one more. This is a question. It just relates to the meeting on the 11th. And I just wonder what the JLTA pilot program is.
Yes, this is the Local Government Risk Services team. And they were looking at putting us onto a pilot program to develop a risk framework around operational and strategic risk. They wanted to use a regional type council to roll out that program. That was prior to the escalation around COVID-19. I will have to touch base with them and just see where that pilot program is heading.
Okay.
What did JLTA stand for?
I knew you would ask me that, but it is part of the Local Government Risk Services division.
Can you find out what it means?
I will, and I will get that back.
No, please. Yeah. Okay. Turning the page, is there any matter there that any member wish to raise?
Yes.
No? Yes. Which one?
Yes. I'm just wondering what's happened in the last 2 weeks, because this only goes up to the 31st of March.
Yes, that's always the case with agendas. They don't go through to yesterday. They close off on the due date, and then the rest of it's picked up the next month. That happens with the Mayor's report and the CEO's report as a matter of course every month.
Thank you very much.
Now, these items on the rolling agenda, did anyone have any item to pick up from there?
Yes, I'd like to say something. Yes. I've got the floor.
Page, please, page and item.
Well, it's just an overview. I would like to express appreciation for the rolling report.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Yep.
We'll note
No,
that
I
in the
do.
minutes.
I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right.
But I did have a question though.
Oh, yeah, go on. Yep.
Thank you. This is to do with the 17th of the 12th of 19.
Yes.
And I just wonder what the current status of these grant payments is.
What page, Councillor Sherburn?
Page 39. Page 38.
Page 39.
Oh, page 39.
Yeah,
Oh, the
okay.
capital infrastructure grants.
Yeah.
Well, they were all dealt with on Australia Day.
Well, that's great, but it just says in progress. So I'm just,
Oh,
we've got to
I have to go to
page-
Mrs. Austin, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yes.
so they would.
Yes, Councillor, through the Mayor, Councillor Shergan, the reason why they're still there because they haven't all been paid out yet. They've certainly been awarded, but we're still awaiting invoices from people before we can pay them out. So that's why they're still on the running sheet, because they haven't been finally processed.
Okay, well, is it possible in that kind of reporting just to have a little note there to say why? So then we don't have to ask questions.
Certainly.
So
Okay.
a little note, that would be great.
Well, I think actually, I think it does, Councillor Shergan. If you look on the right-hand side, it says applicant advised that they were successful and paperwork would be forthcoming in the new year. So,
Yeah, but that's happened.
well, they haven't received the invoices. Council hasn't received the invoice by the sound of it. Is that right, Mrs. Austin?
That's correct, Mayor, but Councillor Shergan's also correct that could have been further updated by more clarity saying still awaiting invoice.
So we'll make sure that's updated. Okay?
Question.
That'd be
Councillor
lovely.
Fletch?
Page 36, the second item, there was a quote for evaluation service of $8,000, which seems horrendous just for evaluation.
I agree. Mr. Georgopoulos, did you wish to comment?
Look, I would have to refer this one, if possible, to Mrs. Putman. Yeah.
Okay. She can answer.
Yes, you are correct. That is the quote that was received, and administration also thought that was extremely high. We went on to seek some additional valuations, and you'll see that information also provided there. That matter is being progressed with Aaron Wilkes and David Altman are attending to that matter. So it's still in progress.
Okay, Councillor Fletch.
Thank you. Yes.
Right, we'll move on then. Can we? I just wonder whether you could have a quick. Sorry, Councillor. Did you have something from there, Councillor Walcombe?
I would like to question a few of these, please.
Yep, sure.
In regard to top of page 34, an update, a status report there with regard to the court action.
Yep.
Good question. Through the Mayor, I will get a report back. I'll have to take that on notice to see where that is at the moment.
Well, I'm pleased to hear Councillor Walcombe raise that, because I'm not happy that this gentleman seems to be getting away with $58,000, quite frankly, even though we have discussed this. It's an open council meeting here, but I'm feeling quite uptight about it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Councillor Shergan?
Yeah, hang on, still.
Yeah.
I think I was on that one. What were you relating to that item, Councillor Shergan? Because Councillor Walcombe's got the floor.
No, I'm not. I have another one.
No, Councillor Walcombe's got the floor at the moment.
Page 30 at the top again. Is there still an active action with regard to the house at the back of the possibility of purchasing at the rear of the council chamber?
Where that is? Yeah, that might be on hold somewhere or another, but there you go. Mrs. Putman, can you answer that one?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, there were some conversations about that, and Mr. Altman was dealing with that matter on behalf of council. my understanding is that it has been left for them to come back to us. There were some initial conversations and the landowners weren't in any particular hurry and they were going to come back to council. I'm happy to follow that up further.
Okay, Councillor Walcombe.
If you would. And then on to 37, top of the page again. Seems to have got nowhere. Could that be followed up with correspondence to the Minister for Dipti, I believe?
Yes. Yes, Councillor CEO's nodding his head.
We will follow that up with a letter to Minister Knoll. Yeah.
So, Councillor Walcombe?
Feedback on the item on the 12th of November. What has been the relevant minister's response to the cruise ships and other landing fee?
If any.
We will need to take that on motion. Take that on notice, Councillor Walcombe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I suspect cruise ships might be not be coming in for a good while, Councillor Walcombe.
No, it could not be, although they might have some sick passengers they would like to get rid of. Top of page 38 this time.
Yes.
Has a timetable been issued to the association Blitz program?
Mr. Harvey, can you answer that? Or do you don't know what they're on about?
Can I just...
Councillor, Mrs. Putland, I was nearly called
Can
you
you please
councillor.
just tell me which one you were looking at?
Page 38.
This is the top item on page 30, Community Centres Working Group, the Blitz program. Mrs. Putland?
No, I can't provide any advice.
So can you bring an answer back to Councillor Walcombe on that, please?
Yes.
Councillor Walcombe, you're on a...
And halfway down on the item listed as 10, 12, 19, what's the current status of design and community consultation for that levy bank?
Officers?
I'm just wondering if Pat's going to answer that or whether...
Yeah, I think she's on mute. Yeah.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay. We are still awaiting some further investigations from David Altman, as I understand it, on the status of the land. And once we have that information, then we can take it to community consultation.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. We're just getting the documents together.
Councillor Walcombe, you got
That's
any
it.
more?
Thank you.
Councillor Shergin, did you have one more?
Oh, yeah, I have several actually. I guess no one's been answered, so I'll go to the next one. Sorry, I'm stuttering. The 6th on the top of page 40, 6th of January. Has this occurred? The commitment of $5,000 to offset the cost of Blowsade.
I understand that amount's been paid. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It has, so that's complete?
Yes.
I believe, yes.
Okay. And the second one refers to the 11th of February, C56. Okay, I just want to note here that it will be easy to forget that this authorisation was given with reference to 10.5, which is rate options following bushfires. So it's not a blanket authorisation. It was an authorisation restricted to a certain item in the agenda.
That's correct.
And that's not noted here. So I just thought it should be noted in case it sort of got away like a fire.
CEO?
Yeah, sure. It relates to C56 2020, which is to do with the bushfire recovery.
Yeah, and that's just ongoing.
And rate notices, like it was to do with rate. And I have one more.
Yeah, hang on. Mrs. Putland wanted to make a comment. Mrs. Putland?
Yeah, thank you.
That is correct. What is represented in the rolling agenda is actually the council resolutions that come out of each of the meetings. So this is what is really important, that each of the resolutions stand alone. So when they're read, away from the item number, we can appreciate that it relates to fire affected activities. So we'll make a note of that and ensure that our recommendations are directed that way in future, but point taken.
Well,
Okay, is there anything further?
Hang on. It was actually to do with rate options, like item 10.5, which this motion went with, was to do with rate options following bushfire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And? Well,
Next
Mrs. Cullen's
question.
shaking her head in agreement. That's right. Yes.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yep, thank you. And the next question, the EOI submissions being assessed, I'd like to know at what cost?
Can you to advise me where you are?
Yes, certainly. Item C80, C80 is your reference. Near the bottom of the page, C80.
Oh, yes. Well, this was discussed at the informal, I believe.
I just want to know the cost.
Well, yeah, Mr. George Hopkins.
Through the Mayor, we can provide you an email with the costs. We could take that on notice. If that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, and finally, section 41 committee. There's an item on the bottom of the page that raised my eyebrows because there's no authority to insert this into the rolling agenda because it's not something that's been authorised by council. And yet it's in here. It's the bottom one on the page, section 41 committee.
Yeah.
I just make the point here, if you don't, council's officers have a requirement to keep up to date with these sorts of things and report back to council. I don't see anything suspicious about it at all. I'll seek a comment from staff, but I don't really think there's anything untoward about it.
Well, yes, there is, because this item comes up later in the agenda.
Councillor Shergan,
Yes,
Mrs. Putnam had a hand up.
I'm happy to make a comment about that. Councillor Shergwin is correct. The information that's provided in the agenda represents the actions from council meetings. We also use a similar spreadsheet to ensure that we bring the matters from Section 41 committee meetings to the attention of the elected body if it's a resolution from a Section 41 committee meeting. So that particular item was raised in Section 9 today, and that will appear in next month's rolling agenda.
Okay.
So it shouldn't have been included yet because it was a recommendation from a Section 41.
Okay, I would like to have a 5-minute adjournment, please.
Yep.
Someone like to move that?
Yes.
I'll move 6.
Move Councillor Pledge and second Councillor Walker. All in favour?
Yep.
Carried.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll get some water.
Yeah, gotcha.
You're there. Are we muted? I must be muted.
We're having a 6-minute break.
Councillor Sherwin, yes, they've just adjourned for a 5-minute break. Not sure if you...
Yes, I heard. I thought I might have been muted because I heard other people talking. I thought, oh, let's get a cup of coffee. What time is it? 50 something. 54.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Are you there, Councillor Denholm? Stepped out.
No, he's not there.
Councillor Lou. Bob's there. Councillor Lou. I need Councillor Denholm.
He went downstairs.
Or did he? Just wait a minute. What are you eating, Councillor Walcombe?
Birthday cake. Orange and walnut.
Oh, sounds nice.
Would you like some?
Love so. Just pop a bit in.
I will.
An apple.
On my computer.
30 seconds and I'm starting without Councillor Denholm. Sam, I can't hear you.
No.
You need to get in front of you. Get in front of your computer, Councillor Mumford.
Me, so I went down and have a look to see what he was doing.
All right, I'm going to recommence the meeting, councillors. I'll just have to wait for Councillor Dano. We'll never get finished. I'd go into item 10.2 before, here he comes. Before we commence this, when I received this, I had a discussion with the CEO. I wasn't comfortable with aspects of this. Since then, we've had a phone discussion this morning with Rupert Hoskin, who is the Business Council of Australia person who's appointed to look after Kangaroo Island. So I just might ask the CEO before we go any further just to brief council on that discussion so we get a bit more clarity around what the actual idea was. Mr. Georgopoulos?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Through the Mayor, we've been approached by the Business Council of Australia and other agencies, I must put it, around helping us develop a Kangaroo Island plan, and some of those items are listed in the draft or confidential prospectus. The purpose of the report, it is a very high order report to basically give permission to administration to have those conversations and bring those people to the table via a workshop or informal gathering or council proper. It's really catering for their interest. They feel, picking up on the Mayor's point, as recently as this morning, we had a conversation with Rupert Hoskin, Business Council of Australia, and he wants to help us formulate Kangaroo Island plan, economic development plan. What that looks like, it really is something that we'd have to bring back through informal gathering or workshop to discuss with elected members. But this report, high order report, allowing or providing permission to the CEO and staff to pursue this.
So if I can just add to that, I was distinctly uncomfortable if council wasn't driving this, the elected members. That was the point I needed to make. I made that quite strongly with the CEO and also with Mr. Hoskin this morning. So further to that, they would be looking at putting into a sum of around 50,000 to employ preferably a local on the island to do this. But I said, and my view was, and I'll open up to councillors in a minute, that we would be concentrating on council providing the direction. I'm calling it an economic recovery plan out of the fires, and furthermore now where we are with the COVID virus. So I think there's merit in doing something, but I was concerned when I first got this report, as I pointed out, discussions with a couple of councillors over it. So I'm just not sure at this stage whether to proceed with the recommendations or take a motion off the floor. I think probably the best thing to do, councillors, is we receive the report and then we move on from there. Would someone like to move that we receive the report? Yep. Councillor Pledge, seconded Councillor Walcombe. All in favour? That's carried. Councillor Shergwin?
No.
No, one against.
I can't.
Carried. Okay, all right, that's it. You're done. So we're just receiving the report. So look, I think we might now move to suspend standing orders to have some discussion about this. Councillor Pledge, second Councillor Biggerman. All in favour? That's carried. So I'm going to open it up to Councillor Walcombe's got his hand up first. And I just want to generate some discussion, pros, cons, and where people might like to head on this. Councillor Walcombe?
Sure, thanks. I understand the Business Council of Australia being a key player in this, but both the late report and the comments then by the CEO alluded to other players. Could we clearly state who they are?
Yep. Through the Mayor, our recovery unit. So Rob Manton and Margot Forster, previous to Rob, expressed some interest in delivering some of the items within that draft prospectus.
So can I just add to that, Councillor Walker, because I see it as really important. It's quite an interesting analogy at the moment. We've got a tale of two islands. We've got a farm sector and tourism sector west of Cygnet River in the burn areas that was absolutely clobbered in December and January. But the farming sector on the island is continuing unabated. The burnt areas are doing all they can to get their farming operations, buildings, sheds, etc. up and running again. The tourism sector that was burned out is still going through the motions of where they want to get to or need to get to. That's exacerbated by the fact that our four-wheel drive sector, they are now talking that there will be no international visitors allowed back into Australia, quite possibly. So that's going to devastate. I was talking to one operator, he said 3 months is they can get through, 6 months they can through, 9 months it starts to get very difficult, and 12 months they're probably out the door. So there's those aspects to consider. And of course, that's been also made more difficult by the fact that we now have our business sector, tourism sector particularly, and the wineries, etc., all shut down. The businesses are busy. If you drive around the town of Kingscote, I'll use that as an example, the stock firms are absolutely flat out. The hardware stores are absolutely flat out. The chemist is operating normally. The medical practice is operating normally. The Foodland, or Drake's as it is now, is operating normally. The garage is as busy as. You have to actually queue up to get into a garage for a week or two to get a job done there. The tyre place is busy. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are busy and there's a lot that are not. Councillor Mumford?
Yeah, I don't know whether you've got me or not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at a blank screen again. This damn thing should itself again.
You mean it's not working, Councillor Mumford?
Yeah, pretty much that too. Yeah, so I've gone back to a home screen, so I can hear you. I just can't see you. So I'll keep on going the way we're going.
Yep. Okay. Righto. So I just make those comments. It's really, you know, it's a broad brush now with COVID-19, which has wiped out, you know, the tourism sector on the eastern end. And the other thing is, of course, councillors, that you know, it's going to be 2 years plus probably since Flinders Chase till that's in operation. And we have these other short-term plans that parks put in to cater for visitors when they come back. So I think it's probably an opportune time for us to have a look at some of these things. So I open it up for discussion. Councillor Walker, you've had a go. Can I just go somewhere else first? If anyone wants to make a comment. Councillor Zanho?
Yes.
Do I have the call?
You do have the call. Yes.
Thank you. I do appreciate the necessity for the creation of this economic rebuilding plan, as you put it, Mayor, and that when you consider the impacts we've had with the drought, bushfires and COVID-19, you know, the economy and its need for rebooting after the recent events are many, and the KI is so diverse due to its numerous government departments such as health, education, agriculture, and we have all our non-government organisations plus many other private companies that function and make our economy work, including forestry, agriculture and tourism. Now, all along with council, the council is just a spoke in the big wheel. And I just have reservations of why this task has to be placed upon our CEO and the administration, because I'm certain that they've got so much to do. So some of my queries are, how much time and effort will be required of the CEO and his staff? What is the intent and extent of the plan? Why isn't our prospectus sufficient enough to inform government, private enterprise and the other interested stakeholders of the opportunities that are available, and cannot the prospectus, the draft prospectus, be modified to reflect current issues without so much input? And how can this investment in the toil of our staff be justified? And I fail to believe that anyway, at the end of all this, there's going to be a pot of gold available for Kangaroo Island. And any funding that we always receive is always used in utilising and improving our infrastructure and services. So I think it's very, very much a demand we're placing on our CEO and the administration. And I just, when I read the initial agenda item from the CEO, I was just somewhat bewildered. And then, of course, I had an opportunity to talk to some of the elected members. And of course, again, we managed to have some consensus that we might be able to get somewhere there. But look, our role is to look after the community and provide municipal services. I just fail to see why we should be a leader in economic recovery. And the state and the federal government and all the departments that we have here on the island, they're the ones that are going to reap the benefits from any of this forward planning. And I find it so hard for our council and the CEO to represent all those stakeholders. So I just think it's probably a task that's a little bit too erroneous to place upon our council. I just have reservations about it. But I think it's an absolute necessity if someone else can do it and pay for it. But we've just been informed there that there might be $50,000 that may be available. But then, of course, we say, well, are we going to have a consultant to do this, or is the CEO to do it? Now, I just wonder whether we can get better value by that money going to the CEO. Because at least the CEO and Rob Manton and the recovery section, they're all up to date and they know what devastation we've been through, what our problems are. To bring a consultant in to do it, I don't know. I just don't think that would be that would be a worthy proposition. But you know, I think that we should stick to our core activities and our core tasks. Thank you.
So thanks, Councillor Denholm. Before I go to the CEO to make comment, can I just again say that I don't see the CEO or council officers driving all this at all, quite frankly. It's not the way I see it. I see the elected members are the ones having the input into where they think ideas should come and go for the future recovery of the island. I want to see, if it's happening, I want to see council, and I'm talking the elected council, take ownership of it. Not expect our administration to be bogged down along with everything else in doing it. I'll just go to the CEO.
Yeah, look.
Then I go to Councillor Walkham after that.
Yeah, sure. Through the Mayor, look, very valid points, Councillor Denholm. I don't see this being a task led by council administration. I think that we would loosely come up with the themes and focus areas and then get assistance. What's been proposed to us from the Business Council of Australia is some money to engage someone from the island to help us with this. And you're absolutely right, it would be a consultant on this occasion. The offer that was put to us by the recovery unit, Rob Manton and Margot Forster, was that they were going to fund it possibly through state government as well. To look at the themes, look at some of the things that are on our prospectus, the draft prospectus, and unpack them and put some plans in place around it with minimum input from administration. But we would have to have some input because we would, no different to the input that we're having through the Airport Management Committee around the master planning of the airport. That's the sort of input I would envisage that council would have. So there'd be brainstorming, there would be talking about the different themes and then making sure council's comfortable with it and let them come up with a business case or come up with solutions around it and what other further stakeholders they need to engage with to ensure that we deliver these projects.
Okay, Councillor Walcombe was next.
Look, one of the things that I've confirmed over a few decades with regard to consultants is that if you choose the wrong consultant, it's your fault. If that consultant is not up to what you want them to do, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you have to get it right. Now we are mid-April, and I don't know how many people out there would be impressed with the recovery effort so far. I would think a few, but not a lot, and would have expected a better results up to this particular time. So we're looking from here on of trying to pull this together in a format that is done quickly. Wonderful news about the Business Council of Australia offering some money in that. Great news that Rob Manton and former Margot Forster was involved. She's now COVID-19, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the ones who need to be involved in this big time. So if we end up with a resolution today that says this is where we think we're going, we've obviously got to get them on board.
Yeah.
They've got to be fully on board with this as well as the Business Council of Australia. So it becomes a three-party deal: Business Council, Council, and the recovery group. So worries me about the time associated with this, when we think we're going to get this done, because we can't afford to wait until the end of the year to get our final report.
Okay, I think, can I have an indication from others who wishes to just put
I'd like to say
comment?
could I say something?
Yeah, in a minute. I haven't finished. I'm just getting an indication from others. I'm coming to you
Yeah,
after
thank
that. Councillor Mumford has. Councillor Sherglin, and then Councillor Mumford, then Councillor Teasdale. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Sherglin.
Oh, thank you. I suggest, I'm reading through this, that it's shades of the big spiel put up for us to get a commissioner, and money was going to be spent organising plans that it was going to save Kangaroo Island. So the spiel went. It was an absolute disaster, and this has the same feel about it. But further than that, I would like to have documentation to prove a lot of the statements made in this paper, the discussion paper, because I think many of the statements in there are erroneous. And also worrying, if you refer to what's being said at the back about environmental considerations and climate change, it sort of suggests that we might be better not to have Mr. Mumford roaring around the paddock in his tractor putting out all those pollutants, because the environment is better off without them. So we need to be very, very careful that we read what it says and also what's implied in what it says. And I was quite alarmed to see, I was really alarmed to see that the isolation of people had demonstrated how humankind can adapt to the long-term benefit of the planet and the people. And we know that the shutdown...
You're losing me.
Well,
if you're talking about those items on the end, which start, excuse me, just for a minute,
yeah.
You're starting with governance considerations and all those things that they're on every document that comes out from council. Now, I don't take any notice of them normally, quite frankly, but they're on every document that comes out, and I think that's a hangover from previous administration. So I just ignore it.
We do have to take notice of them because they actually give us the intent of what's being proposed. And if you think about what that says under climate change, you would feel quite alarmed, because what's happened to humankind during this isolation is a lot of mental illness, drug use and drunkenness and hopelessness and suicide have all increased during this time of shutdown. It's not good for people. And the shutdown of factories is going to bring us back to the Stone Age. And yet, dare I say that there are people in our society who would like that to happen. And I believe that part of what's in this document is pushing that agenda. And that's why I feel so alarmed.
Okay, all right.
And,
yeah, well, I think you've detracted from, you know, I mean, you're entitled to make your point, don't get me wrong, but I think you've detracted. So can I ask Councillor...
Let me say too, please, that Kangaroo Island and Australia and South Australia grew great through individual enterprise. Private enterprise made us a great nation. And all this planning and stuff, we used to laugh about that at school, because at school we used to learn about how the Russians and people like that had endless plans, and it always came to naught and to failure. And now we're trying to bring in what failed them, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Thank you.
I'm going to go to Councillor Mumford.
Right. As far as the rebuilding and everything that we're talking about with pre-COVID-19, the problem is that hasn't been enough direction. There's been that many agencies trying to all help, but there's no one there that's actually pulling them together as one effectively. And because of that, the same things are happening by multiple agencies, and it's actually making things worse rather than better, if you know what I mean, because you're going through the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It actually needs a head on the top of this bloody horse to point the thing in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying that it should be council, but we also want to be able to be part of the ship that's steering the way we want to go. So are you going to leave that to someone who's going to come down here for 3 months and we're never going to see again? Or are you going to have it so that we control our own destiny?
Thank you, Councillor Mumford. Councillor Teasdale is next.
Look, I think we should just get on with it. Some little while ago on emails, Councillor Walkham had a revised set of propositions of resolutions. I'd be more than happy to run with those if he puts that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Teasdale. Now, Councillor Pledge, Councillor Lewell, Councillor Tiggerman, did you want to have a chat so we can keep moving? We've got an agenda. So.
Just from the recommendation, the original one from the CEO, certainly we do need a workshop, but maybe that's something that happens sooner rather than later, so we get those ideas into whatever report comes out of it. But certainly there does need to be someone at the head steering the ship, as Councillor Mumford says.
Thank you. Councillor Tiggerman, did you want to say anything? Come off your mute, please. You're muted.
I can say that.
Councillor Tiggerman, you're still muted.
Yeah, okay, good.
Did you wish to make any comment? And then I'll go to Councillor.
Yeah, I think this is going to be led by us, the council, to start off with, and then put some parameters in where we want to go, etc. And then, well, obviously we're not personally going to do a lot of this work, but then it goes back to the administration to help us put all these ideas together. That's
okay. Thank you. Councillor Lou, did you wish to make comment?
Yes, as long as it does not cost any money, I'll support the plan.
Correct.
Anyway, I would like to see a study brief be prepared, or workshop a study brief, so that we know which way we are going.
Okay. All right. So, councillors, everyone's had their 2 bobs worth. So I intend to resume the meeting and look for a resolution from the floor of the meeting. Councillor Walkham, you would like to move something?
I would. I put up a alternative proposal, which earlier this morning the CEO advised he could live with. and the Deputy Mayor, Bob Teasdale, modified that, and I'm happy with his modification. Now, how we get that across, I'm not sure whether the PA has got it and all the others have got.
So can I, Councillor Walker, with respect, can I, Councillor Teasdale, and perhaps he could move what he's suggesting and you could second it, Councillor Walker, if necessary, and we'll go on from there, but I actually need a formal motion to keep moving.
Sure. I was just trying to clarify which one.
Well, I could, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I could read out the revised one that I prefer.
Yeah, I would prefer that, Councillor Teasdale. Mrs. Maher's nodding her head, so I suspect she might have it. So can you read it out, please? No, she hasn't got it.
Right.
And she's on mute as well.
The CEO develop a brief to prepare a high-order Kangaroo Island Economic Rebuilding Plan, ERP, for the delivery of key strategic priorities to rebuild Council's business and services and the island's economy generally, based on Council's updated strategic plan. This brief must, 1, clearly qualify and quantify the scope and timelines of the ERP. 2, use appropriate business terminology to concisely state all objectives. 3, identify potential funding and implementation entities, including sponsors, stakeholders, and eventual project owners. 4, list all related documents and other resources. And 5, cost the development and implementation of the plan.
Thank you. Councillor Walker, are you prepared to second that?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Pledge, did you have a question?
Perhaps something to add to it. I'll just state it to see.
Hang on, I'm going to have to be formal. This is a formal motion of council. It has been moved and seconded.
Yes.
I need to have a nod from administration, particularly the PA, that she has the motion. No, she hasn't. So Councillor Teasdale or Mr. Georgopoulos, you have it, I believe. Can you email that direct to the PA so that she has it in front of her now, please?
I will do that, yes.
Right. Can you do that straight away, please?
Yes, I'm working on it right now.
Thank you.
I sent that about a minute and a half ago to the PA.
Right. Okay, so the PA should have it. Let's
Mine's
get a
more
nod.
of a question.
Can I just stand by 2 seconds, Councillor Pledge? Okay. I just need to make absolutely 100% sure that Mrs. Maher's got it.
Yep.
I can't see her. All I can see is an earmuff. You haven't got it? No, you're muted.
I know. Just one moment. I've got 100 emails to just check.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where it's coming from. So
The CEO's just ducking into that office by the look of it. Just bear with us for a minute, councillors. So the PA's got it. So, Councillor, did you have a question, Mrs. Councillor Pledge?
Yes. To the part B, which was to use appropriate business terminology to state, Councillor Teasdale has put concisely in there. I'm wondering if the word concisely needs to be there. And I'm also wondering if we add an F that we include a workshopping from the EMs to for the CEO to actually get that brief together.
I accept that Councillor Teasdale and Councillor Walker may want to incorporate that into the motion as a suggestion, which I think is a good one. Councillor Walker?
Could you just repeat that? I didn't quite pick that up.
Sure.
About Part B.
Oh, Part B, he's got to state concisely all objectives. I'm not sure the word concisely needs to be there. We just need to state all objectives.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I think concisely. I think concisely is
Excuse
important.
me, Councillor Shergan. Councillor Teasdale's got the floor. Yes, Councillor Teasdale, will you accept that?
I'm very happy to remove the word concisely. I would also suggest, in light of Councillor Pledger's comment, that we reword the first sentence to read, the CEO develop and workshop a brief to prepare a high order, etc.
So,
we said develop and workshop.
Okay. So with those, yes, Councillor Walkham, I need to keep, this is a motion, so I need to go to Councillor Teasdale and ask him to speak in favour of it, and obviously yourself, and then go through the process from here. If there's any suggested amendments or whatever, we'll deal with them as we go. So Councillor Teasdale.
All I want to say is I fully support the initiative that the CEO has taken and Councillor Walkham has taken in revising the resolution. I think we should get moving with it ASAP, get the workshop happening and move pronto on this.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak at this stage, Mr. Walkham? Councillor Walkham, the seconder?
Yes, I will. Look, tactically, I would imagine the CEO needs to take this to the actual resolution of council, to the Business Council of Australia and get their endorsement, and to the recovery group, Manton Forster, whoever is wearing those hats now. And for that reason, I would prefer to see supplementary motions after this one that would be tasking what the CEO and council does as far as developing this, rather than interfering with the thrust of the what we're considering at the moment.
Okay, is there a speaker motion? No? Is there another speaker for?
Yes.
Councillor Shergan, what are you speaking for?
No, I'm actually against the motion.
I know, well, you've got the opportunity to speak against it now.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
I believe that council is taking on more than it can chew, and council is not really able to do what it should be doing adequately. And I think it's most unwise to take on a plan which tries to develop the economy of Kangaroo Island when it can't even really look after its own affairs. And I guess I've already said the other things earlier, so that will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker for?
I will say one more thing. Thank you. I just want to endorse what Councillor Denholm said. I thought he put it together really well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a speaker for? If not, I shall go back to Councillor Teasdale to sum up the motion.
No, let's put it.
Okay, so I'll put that motion, councillors. All in favour, please raise your hands. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Against?
No,
1.
I'm for it.
You're for it, councillor?
No. Yes, I'm for it.
So you're in favour of it now. So it's 7 in favour, 1 against. The motion is carried.
No, just hang on. I'm quite happy to support the motion.
So it's all in favour. Thank you. Right. Okay. Now, Councillor Walkham or anyone else, did you wish to add a further motion, or can we move on? Well, you indicated you might want to. That's fine.
I'm presuming that the CEO will hold these workshops anyway. But if anybody else has reservations, we can move a supplementary motion to workshop this and
ASAP.
So
it's been moved, Councillor Walkham, that this matter be workshopped as soon as possible. Councillor, Mr. Georgopoulos, what's your problem?
Through the Mayor, we've got the original recommendation talks about the CEO wanting to take consultation with key stakeholders and invite input from council elected members. Is that good enough, or do you want to rehash that?
No, that's fine.
Probably does it. Councillor Walkham does it.
And then there's third, the CEO will workshop the draft Kangaroo Island rebuilding plan with Kangaroo Island Council elected members.
I think we're pretty well covered, Councillor Walkham,
it's
unless you
covered.
want to proceed with your motion.
I know, that's fine.
All right.
Objection.
Just a minute, Councillor Shergan. I've got a question of clarity here. Councillor Shergan, Councillor Walkham, you don't wish to proceed on that then?
No, someone else
All
can.
right. So is there another motion from anyone? If not, we'll move on, councillors.
I need to
You got a
speak
motion,
against it.
Councillor Shergan?
What is
I'm
it?
just alarmed that this, if we
Councillor
adopt,
Shergan, question of process
Yes?
here. We have moved, seconded, and passed the motion. We are past that. Unless you have another motion on the matter, we're moving on to the next item in the agenda.
are you?
Yes, right now. So we're turning now to page 42, item 11, the business support services.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Pledge. Seconded, Councillor Denholm. All in favour? That's carried.
Yes.
Now I'll go through. I beg your pardon, Councillor Shergan.
I said yes.
Oh, thank you. I'll move through. Remember to speak up while I read through this if you wish anything. Finance and Systems, Audit Committee, Finance Committee, Information Tech, Community Affairs, Customer Service and Library.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, 2.4.2, the total sponsorship. Do we have any idea of what may see us out to the end of the financial year?
I'll ask Mrs. Austin on that one.
Yes, through the Mayor, the budget is 15,000, so we have almost 4,000 remaining. That probably will get us through, I would think, because this sponsorship budget is not about cash. There's no cash component there. That is just sort of the waiving of fees for the hire of halls and outdoor facilities, etc.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Customer Service and Library, Human Resources. Has there been any resignations lately from staff? Has there been anyone? No, there hasn't. No, that's all. Thank you. Governance, nothing. Councillors, I'm going through for your benefit. Development and Environmental Services. I think the interesting point there is there's the number of applications that have come in and those that have been approved at time of print on 623. That's good turnover. Item 6.3.
Yes.
Yes, who was that? Councillor Walkham, yes.
I need a bit of clarification here with regard to what's actually included in these remarks. Council's CEO's forward correspondence to relevant key contacts in state government regarding funding requirements and options. What, rather than ask for the correspondence, what, in a nutshell, are we including here?
CEO.
Look, through the Mayor, these are some time ago, different modular housing companies would come to us and talk about that if there were general approval by council as far as building requirements and bushfire ratings, they could seek funding at a federal or state level. And so our planning staff would say, yeah, look, if you upspec certain categories of your building, yeah, you can go off and get, if you can do that, then yes, we generally, in principle, support those options. But then all those options would be forwarded, as we recommend, to the recovery unit itself for assessment. So if that's answered the question, yeah.
So moving on to 632, from that was the intent then,
Yeah.
and hasn't really got much traction, as I can understand there. Two new building designers and builders have approached council in March. Are these for-profit or not-for-profit groups, and how will bushfire affected people benefit from medium-term housing, which has a sunset remove date of January 2022. It's really perplexing who's doing what and what's trying to be achieved there.
Yeah, so once again, these housing designers or builders come to council just to get an in-principle support for the design with regard to the planning aspects and the building code and fire rating. Once again, they are all then forwarded to the recovery unit. So we don't make any decisions on it. We put forward what's come to us, to the recovery unit. They are deliberating on it as we speak. And I think some recommendations have been put to Cabinet last week for them to make some announcement over the next couple of weeks.
I think it was yesterday, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Georgopoulos, but I did see a report from Mr. Harvey, I think, a couple of hours ago, where he indicated that something was going to Cabinet yesterday. Is that right? You got that out of the recovery meeting, Alan? You muted, Alan.
Yeah. Sorry, through the mayor. Yeah, that came through the recovery meeting this morning. They only referred to modular buildings, so that's the context of the discussion, but it was going to the Cabinet today.
So we just have to wait and see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
Councillor Walcombe, and then Councillor Denholm.
I can't help being suspicious here that we're optimistic that Cabinet is going to do something money-wise to help people rebuild of a permanent nature. That may or may not be the case, but we need something definite. I mean, the people out there need something definite. Yeah. And it could be that we should be putting a resolution through to recovery Dipty or whoever it is, minister, and saying, hey, this is not good enough. Clarify. We're all sort of hanging around here, weeks turn into months, and everybody's thinking the problem's going to be solved, and it has no hope of being solved.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Mr. Georgopoulos before I go to Councillor Denholm, and I want to make a comment as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor, and through the Mayor. Yes, it's been a very frustrating process because some months ago, the recovery unit asked us to go out and survey the fire affected people and the people that are looking for medium-term housing. Medium-term housing at that point was 7 months to 12 months, I think, or up to 2 years. Now, we did that. We embarked on that. We dedicated some officers' time. They came back. We came back with a list, and we came back with a preferred option. Look, that went on deaf ears, I think. Yeah, nothing came of that. What they're putting forward is an array of different options. So, look, all I can say is it isn't a council decision. It really is a state-funded project, and it is a state decision. What they're talking about, medium-term housing, will be funded by the state, and then they will assess it on a case-by-case basis, depending on if they're insured or uninsured, etc. But they will not be assisting in long-term housing options, which is about a rebuild over 3 to 4 years. That will heavily rely on insurance companies.
So just in follow-up before I go to Councillor Denholm, I believe there was another, I think 2 or maybe 4 pods were put in over the weekend. The living pods are now up to 40, I understand. Right. So I think that's right. I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong. But it's always been the issue here that we haven't known what's been going on. This is why I want to speak, and I'm sure the CEO, and we'll get him in to speak to council as well, with Rob Manton sooner rather than later to give a brief. There's been no flow down of information to the extent there should have been through to council. At the end of the day, have to give all the approvals and things. It's simply not good enough. I've had a discussion with Councillor Walcombe, who's chair of the infrastructure group. You know, so I might sound repetitive, but it's actually all about the people who have been burnt out. It's not about the agencies in Adelaide. It's not about what we do. It's about the people who have been burnt out and getting it happening for them. So depending on what happens and if they make some announcement, I've got no idea out of Cabinet yesterday, but I just make the point that if it's over $4 million, it actually has to be referred to the Public Works Committee of Parliament, who have discretionary power up until 11 million to decide whether to have a hearing or not. They would have to be calling tenders on it. Now, I think there was a bit of attempts to fly under the radar, and a few people were trying to get their hands on the ground pretty quick in relation to this medium housing, which didn't impress me in the slightest. So I think we have to wait now and see what comes out of it. Now, who did I have next? I think I had Councillor Denholm, who's been patient.
Thank you, Mayor Pengelly. Yes, actually, I was rather puzzled by 632. I thought our real problem was to provide short-term housing for these while they sorted out something permanent. But however, I do appreciate the explanations that the CEO has given. I appreciated the comments from Councillor Walker, and I do appreciate the comments of the Mayor, because it does clarify it. But my query was, why is Council involved? Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we in a position to move forward in the agenda, councillors? Thank you. Item 6.4, 6.5.
Wait a minute, 6.4?
Yeah, quickly.
Yes,
it'll be dark before long.
Are we going to get a permanent environmental health officer?
Mr. Georgopoulos?
We do have an environmental health officer, yes.
Permanent? On site?
They are on contract.
So we actually legally have to have one, I understand.
We have to. We have
okay. 6.5. So on to point 7, asset service overview, and officers, if you wish to speak up, Mr. Harvey or anyone else. Item 7.1, 7.2, straightforward. 7.3. I want to talk about Rex a little bit later in confidence, actually. So, Councillor Denholm.
Yes, I was rather intrigued by 733 and where it was that Rex were reached to cease operations in Queensland. Well, in fact, I think Queensland was the only place that they wished to maintain their operations, because that was the only state government that was subsidising their services. So I think that probably may be badly worded.
So things have changed so quickly, Councillor Denholm. If I can brief Council in confidence on some Rex material afterwards, I'll add to that. Okay. Item 7.3, turning the page. On we go. Item 7.5, operations. So there has been a few beg your pardon, Councillor Lou?
744.
744, yes. Yes.
Footpath program. We have not formally adopted the program yet, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry. No, right. I need a comment from an officer on that, about where we're going on that one, please. Mr. Harvey or Mr. Georgopoulos or Mrs. Putland or someone?
Yep, Mr. Harvey.
Yeah, I can do that. Through the Mayor, I think that might be an error. I do understand we haven't, or you have finalised a number of footpaths, but I think there are a few that you're looking at adding in. The tender process, I don't believe that's occurred. So I think that's actually not correct.
Councillor Lou, did you wish to comment?
We have, I recall that we comment on the program, but I believe that it would come back to the council for adoption. It has not been.
Yeah, through the Mayor, absolutely right, Councillor. That was the intent and it still is the intent. So that what I read there is not correct, and I apologise.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So we're all clear on that one?
Correct.
I'll go on.
Correct that.
Go into item 7.5, and that can be corrected in the record. Operations 7.6.
Yes.
Yes, Councillor Sherman. Which one?
Yes. Yes, 7.6.4.
Yes.
I believe that should be put on hold until we've done a proper assessment of the roads on the island and the more important things to proceed with.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but it'll be the will of council that decides that, quite frankly.
Yeah, but I just wanted to raise that issue right
okay.
now.
Well,
That,
you've raised it. I've heard what you've said. Yes.
thank you.
I wanted to ask a question, probably to Mr. Harvey on this. I did Wedgwood Road on Sunday again, and I'm just wondering, there doesn't seem to be much progress out there since I was out there 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's all sealed, but the white posts and the markers, etc., are not up. Is there any indication when that road's going to be open? All the locals are using it. There's really only locals that are here now anyway. But what's the hold up in getting that final jobs done and getting it open?
Yeah, through the Mayor. We're just waiting for some stock to come in to complete that work. The line marking would have to be done by a line marking contractor, and generally will bulk up work across other areas of council to make that efficient for us to bring over contractors. So we are working on getting that open as quickly as we possibly can.
Now that really does, it gives a reason, but it doesn't give me an answer. When will it be done? Sorry, but I think it's...
No, so you're all right, and that's a fair question. Can I take that on notice and come back to you?
You can indeed. And then can you let the whole council know when you...
I can.
Because it's just ludicrous at the moment. There's more traffic on that than there is on Rundle Street. Yeah. So properties and parks, see SWIMS report 7.9, it's all done. And then why haven't I got... Councillor Sherkin, sorry?
Thank you. Do I have to put a motion to hold that 7.6.4 on, put it on hold?
Not necessarily, I don't think. I mean, it's just work in progress at the moment until such time as we work out the budget. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's there that the application is going ahead to be produced, or have I misunderstood the item?
Well, we're in the special local roads program. Now, Mr. Harvey, do you want to make comment?
Yeah,
Thank
through
you.
the Mayor. We're slightly out of sync in terms of the budgeting process, which everyone is aware of. Normally, you would have had conversations already about your capital works program, and the special local roads funding contribution will be part of that discussion. You've not been able to have the conversation yet, so this application has come slightly ahead of the broader conversation about capital works, not operation, not OPEX, but CAPEX. That was the reason why I sent out that email to all councillors asking for an in-principle support of this, because we have to get the application in by the end of this month. If we don't, then we will not proceed with that. And to be fair to the Southern Hills Government Association, who were putting this application together to special local roads, they needed to drop in other projects to fulfill their quota if we weren't going to go ahead. So I had to get that confirmation of that support in principle from councillors last week, so that application could be proceeded, or another council could then have time to drop their own project in. That's why that's there, and that's why we're producing an application for that now.
Okay.
Question. But subject to our budget review and the condition of our roads, I'm not convinced it's a wise idea to go ahead at this present time with that next part of the road. And we shouldn't be a dog in a manger about this. So if there's people in the mainland that get the money, well, let them go, because I'm a bit concerned that we're going to overextend ourselves trying to do that next part of the road at this present time.
Councillor Mumford? Can't hear you. You're muted, Councillor Mumford. You're still muted.
Yeah, try that. Alan sent out an email to everyone, and I think there was 7 councillors responded, and there was 6 that said go ahead with it. So if you call that a vote, voted.
Yes, well...
No, that's not a vote. A vote has to be solemnised in council.
Thank you, Councillor Shergin. If you want to test the meeting, you go ahead, but I intend to move on unless there's a motion. Councillor Mrs. Butland, sorry, first.
I was just going to support your last comment, Mayor, that there could be a resolution to provide that input principal support right now, if you wish.
Okay, so yes, Councillor Mumford.
So moved.
Hang on a second, Shergan. Councillor Shergan, I've
Hang
got
on.
Councillor Mumford moving.
No, wait a minute. I'm the one that raised this issue.
I'm
not
sorry,
you.
you wait a minute. I'm chairing the meeting and Councillor Mumford is putting up a motion. Councillor Mumford, would you like to put up your motion, please?
I'd like to put up a motion for in-principle support for the continuation of Hickman's Road.
And I'll
And
second.
second, Councillor Pledge. Did you wish to speak for it, Councillor Mumford?
Mate, it's straightforward. Just get the job done.
Councillor, as the second, Councillor Pledge, did you wish to speak in favour?
No, fully support.
Okay, is there a speaker against?
Yes,
Yes, right,
I've
speak
already-
up, Shergwin, yes.
thank you. Thank you. I've already raised my objections, but I'm deeply concerned where we're heading economically with the COVID and the fires and with the repairs which need to be done to existing roads which are in great need of remediation in places. And I don't think at this time we can actually raise the money to go ahead with this next point. I'd also like to point out that the piece that we've already completed is a benefit to those people that live in the region, and that we ought to wait until our circumstances improve or we've got a better view of what's lying ahead before we commit ourselves to spending ratepayers' money on the next part of the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker for? Is there a speaker against? Councillor Walcombe, you indicated you want to speak against. Would you like to?
Yes, I do. I've already put emails in explaining my reasoning there, and we simply do. Nobody here that is for this or against it is on any other basis than an emotional basis. There is no report to council justifying this. We should not go there without that report.
The mover, Councillor Mumford, did you wish to sum up the debate?
If you're talking about the damage to the roads that's out our way, we've just had the grader go up and down Turkey Lane and our immediate roads around here. And where the fire has gone through, there is no roadside scrub. The roads have been graded up with the winter grade and they are beautiful, not a worry in the world. And we've got more vision now than we've had in the last bloody 40 years. So where we were looking at saying that there was going to be a great amount of money needed to be spent on these roads, once these graders have gone through, you might find that there's actually very little that needs to be spent on some of these roads.
Okay, that's summed up the motion, summed up the debate. I shall put the motion. All in favour? Put your hands up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Against?
Yes.
1, 2 against. The motion is carried.
Division.
Division required. Can those in favour please put their hands up again? That's Councillor Pledge, Councillor Tiggerman, Councillor Denholm, Councillor Liu, Councillor Mumford, Councillor Teasdale. Against, Councillor Walcombe and Councillor Shergwin. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Now we're moving on. You have in front of you, councillors, the concepts which have been put out for the Estuary Bay Cape Ganthium. I've noticed there's been some comment made about wrecking national parks again. This has got nothing to do with private development, as I think all of you are aware. It includes round at Antichamber Bay. These are normal plans done by parks to try and increase the areas where visitors can go, particularly given the limitations that are on Flinders Chase. These have been discussed and thrown around for the last 12 months, quite frankly. So if councillors want to put in any comments on them, are quite welcome to discuss it. But it's really just for your information. You can do it privately as well. All right. Okay. Councillor Walcombe, sorry.
I'd like to move a motion on this that
Yes.
the Cape Ganthium Coastal Trek be addressed as part of this this work. In terrible shape. It is limestone potholes all the way, and it would need very little work to bring it up to a very serviceable.
Okay, if I can be a pain in the neck and just pull you up, your motion is that Cape Ganthium track be included in the upgrading.
Yes.
In a nutshell. Is there a seconder for that, please?
Yep.
Councillor Pledge, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Walken, you wish to
No, that's okay. I didn't clarify the actual.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
It's just so obvious that this should be done. I can't understand why it's been left out. It's a better, having walked that track, it's a better one than the Wilderness Trail. And at least it has to be considered. We haven't had any information on it at all about why it's been left out or why it's, what justification there is. I mean, you could run a series of trucks down there with road base on it to fill a walking trail only, and it'd cost a small fraction of what the Wilderness Trail cost.
Okay, Councillor Pledge has seconded. Did you wish to speak?
No, if we can get a little bit further added to a trail there and enhance it, and well and good.
Is there a speaker against? It's pretty straightforward, I think. All in favour? Right.
Yep.
Yes. That's all in favour, unanimous. Thank you. So we'll move on, councillors, to item 11.2. There is a recommendation there.
So
moved. I'll move it. Pledge. Second to Councillor Denholm. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried. I'm not sure whether we need to raise anything from there.
Yes, Mr.
I'll just
Mayor.
run through. Look, I'll run through them. American River. Is there anything from the River report?
Yeah, look, there was, please, could we get a response back to the points that were lobbed in a month, well, probably 6 or 7 weeks ago by the American River Progress Association? They're grizzling that they do not have a response.
All right. Can we make a note of that in the minutes and ask officers to follow up, please? Pennishaw? Nothing?
No, we've got nothing there.
Bodan Beach?
Just a spelling thing. The toilet contract being revised, looking to re-oil. Oh, so that's the outside of it. Now I understand.
Yes.
Yep. It didn't make sense to start.
Gets re-oiled inside every day, I'd suggest.
And also, too, if I may add on there, the Bourne Beach reminded me the other day when I was speaking to them about our council meeting and what they were thinking about and what they wanted done. They have advised council they're prepared to spend $10,000 of their funds to actually support the reworking of the boat ramp.
All right. Item 514, Kingscote. No. Pandana, no update. Emu Bay. No.
No, that's
so that's covered that one, I think. So we'll go on, councillors, to item 11.3 on page 75. Yep. Okay.
Consider them separately.
I'll ask councillors how they want them done this time. We just get bogged down in time on this. So, I mean, I need an indication from councillors on whether they are happy to go forward on 3.
I'm just wondering, did you put the previous motion, the recommendation under 11.2?
I don't know, did I?
You got to move around that, but I don't know if you put the motion.
I thought I did actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
So what I will accept for item 11.3, there is a recommendation there with the 3 points in it. I'm happy to accept a motion along those lines. Councillor Denholm, you're moving.
I'm quite to move that we approve the recommendations 1, 2 and 3.
And secondly, Councillor Teasdale.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against that? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Oh, sorry, Mel.
Yes, I'd probably recommend to move the number 1 separately, to rescind the motion.
Thanks a lot. You just.
I was putting my hand up. No.
Well, I can't see you. All
Yes,
right.
we've got
So,
it.
Councillor Denholm.
Yes,
give-
I'm quite happy that with
Do number one?
recommendation one, yes.
I know. So we'll do one. So all in favour of number one?
Yep.
Carried.
No, against.
Against, right, one against, the motion's carried. Now, would you like to move 2 and 3 together?
2 and 3 together.
Thank you, Councillor Denholm, second to Councillor Teasdale. I'll put that all in favour. Raise your hands, please.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, that's carried. All right, did anyone have any questions as we went forward there? No. No? No, item 11.4. There's a recommendation on page 78.
So move.
Move, Councillor, please.
No, wait a minute. There's an error.
Just a minute, thank you. Is that,
I'm-
you're seconding?
I'm
Councillor-
pointing out an error.
Just a minute, Councillor Shergan, if you don't mind. You can't see what's going on. I can, and I have a mover and a seconder at Councillor Dennis. So,
Point of order.
pardon?
I said point of order.
What's your point of order?
Well, the reason is there's an error in the document.
Right, where's the error? We're just moving the recommendation.
Page 83.
What's the error?
1.2. Potable water is available inside the entrance gate to the Mariner Walkway and at the VIC. But if we have the changed ownership, which is in the pipeline, that may not be available.
Well, there'll be no change of ownership to it. Councillor, Mrs.
Yeah, but if
Putland.
it's
Mrs. Putland has the floor.
And noting
Thank you.
Councillor Sherwin's point there, the recommendation is purely to go to consultation. So all of those issues can be addressed during the period of consultation if that pleases the electorate.
Thank you. So that, I think that covers that.
It does.
All right, so I'll put that recommendation. All in favour, raise your hands, please.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. All in favour, that's carried. Right. Unless there's
Now,
any,
I've got questions.
well, we can have, we're just putting it out in the consultation. I suggest if
I
you've
do
got
have
questions, you feed them into the
I'd like to
CEO.
ask-
Would you,
I'd like to ask some
would
questions
you
now,
mind,
please.
Councillor Shergman?
Not at all.
I'm suggesting that if you have questions, you feed them into the administration and they will come back when we discuss the matter after the consultation. You can raise them at any time with the CEO. They don't have to be raised here today. So that's the way we're going to move on that one. Okay, so we'll move on, councillors. Item 11.5. There is a recommendation there.
So move.
Councillor Denholm's moving. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Pledge is seconding. It's pretty straightforward. Yep. Well, actually, before I put the motion, I'll just ask for any questions on anything.
Just final reports.
Have you got a question, Councillor Shergman? You lit up. No.
I'll remain silent on this one.
Right. Okay, so I'll put the recommendation. All in favour? Please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
Thank you. That's carried. We shall move on, councillors, to, when I get there, bear with me.
I flag a question.
I'm sorry?
I flag a question before you rush in.
On what? The item we're on?
Yep.
So what's the question? What page? I've already
Thank
moved. The motion's been dealt with.
I didn't hear that.
Well, it was.
You said yes.
7.6.
You actually voted, Councillor Shergan, you actually voted yes in favour of it.
No, we're looking at 11.6
I'm
now.
sorry,
Dudley, you know.
Councillor Shergan, you did vote yes. The vote, I put the recommendation up. It was moved and seconded. and I called for those in favour, and you said yes along with everyone else, so it was carried unanimously. Councillor Mrs. Butler?
That was on 11.5.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
That's what we're
Councillor
talking about.
Sherwin's referring to item 11.6. She's got a question regarding
Yeah,
11.
we're not on 11 point. We're just about to get to 11.6. Yeah.
That's why I flagged it before you rushed into it without letting me say something.
Page 135, councillors, page number 11.6. So what's your question before I go into it?
Thank you, sir. My question is referring to 7.6 of the lease agreement.
On what page, please?
Page 146.
7.6, yeah.
Yeah. Now, it says no alcohol, and I didn't know you could have a football club without alcohol, so I'm just questioning it.
No, what it says here is the lessee must not consent without the consent of the council and require the required licence, which is straightforward. Straightforward. The same with every club.
Okay, so there's no issue there?
No. No. All this is
Yep.
is putting, the recommendation is to put it out for public comment, consultation. That's what it's
Okay.
So I need a
Yep.
mover on that, please, from someone.
Well,
Move Councillor Mumford, seconded Councillor Denholm. Any questions before I put it to the vote? Councillor Walcombe?
Yeah, I have a problem with this, that we may be ultra vires. We have a current resolution on council's book saying 21 years only, and we are going here with another one which says 21 plus 21.
I'll ask for an explanation from council officers, please.
Yeah, so the current resolution was to enact their right of renewal for the further 21 years. The conversation with the Dudley United Football Club is that they would like to seek a further 21 years, which would make it a 42 years. So essentially we are considering a brand new lease here. It's not an extension of the previous lease.
Actually, we're not actually considering, we're putting that out for consultation.
Correct.
We consider it when it comes back from consultation.
That's
And
correct, sorry.
I would suggest that in 42 years, there won't be anyone sitting around this table who'll have to worry about it, probably. But anyway.
I still think that that doesn't sway me from thinking that we're ultra vires, because council's current resolution is 21.
Well, I need to get it right, Councillor Walcombe, and I'm happy to just get an opinion on this pretty quickly. CEO, you need to give us an opinion on this, please.
Yeah, well, look, through the mayor, it's we're asking to vary that, so it's 21 plus 21, where the previous resolution talked about 21 years only.
That's not, yeah, but I understand where Councillor Walcombe's coming from. He doesn't want to see us getting the bind former councils got. We actually have to have it right. And I need to know whether he's correct or whether he's incorrect, whether council's actually doing the right thing. I need officers to tell me that. I can't tell you because I'm not a council officer. I'm not a lawyer.
He's saying.
Yeah, so we understand that because the previous resolution said any aspect of the lease may be renegotiated within this 21-year period, that is what we're essentially doing, is renegotiating the lease within the extended period of 21 years as approved back in June 2017. So we're looking at renegotiating a new lease with a right of renewal as per the Dudley United Football Club's consideration, and that requires going out to consultation in the first instance.
So what you're actually saying is that should they come back, consultation come back, and the community, or if anyone puts in a submission that's supported, then the lease, the subsequent lease would overrule the one that Councillor Walker was talking about, that it would be 21 and 21. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, my understanding would be a rewritten contemporary lease that has a new right of renewal in there. Because
So can I suggest, and I'll seek some seek support from Councillor Walker, can I suggest that the council get a bit of advice on this? We can go to consultation, and if we've got it wrong, we've got it wrong when it comes back, but if it's right, it's right, if you know what I mean. But I think we need to cover our collective backsides. Councillor Walker?
Yes, happy with that.
Okay. Everyone's happy with that? All right.
Yep.
I haven't put that yet, have I?
No.
No.
I'll put that. All in favour?
Yep.
That's carried by all. Thank you, councillors.
Could I move a 5-minute rest break?
I'm sorry, Councillor Teasdale?
Could I move a 5-minute rest break?
Absolutely. An adjournment. Councillor Teasdale, seconded. Mrs. Putman, you can't second that. Councillor Tickerman can. All in favour? 5 minutes. So we resume at 20 past by the clock here. Thank you. I'm just muting.
There's smoke.
I only did last night yesterday, remember? I didn't eat a whole lot. No? Now it's a lot on yesterday.
How you going, Robert?
Oh, I'm just trying to get this latest thing that's been sent to us.
That's on Rex for in confidence.
That's right. Yep, I'm just downloading it, getting myself organised.
Yeah.
Is there something new coming down the pipeline?
Hey, you've got an email on the Regional Express matter that went out last night. There's a report come through for in confidence.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't receive emails. I'm out, like I'm down and out. But I think Nikki did try to send it through, and if I use a magnifying glass, I can see it. So I hope it's not too important.
I'll explain it when we get there.
Well, there's the smoke floating around here.
Yeah, there's a few burning today.
Yeah,
Walter Florence is burning, so.
that's probably where I'm getting it from. It's coming from the north.
Yeah, I'll probably burn a day or two with a bit of luck, so, yeah. Miss Marr, how you going? Sorry?
Last item.
Yeah.
Just need to clarify whether
Yes.
I'm muted on the block because it's two recommendations.
Yeah.
Or they're just.
Which one's I just need to wait for Sarah to get back to her den.
The beauty about me being a farmer is I love being outside. I was no good at school. I hate computers. This isn't gelling very well for me.
Well, you're not joined at the hip, Sam. Don't worry about it.
And I just walked outside and it's beautiful out there.
I just need to wait for the CEO and Sarah, and then we're off again, I think. Where's Mr. Georgopoulos, Sarah? Do you know? Sarah, you're muted. Yeah. Where's the CEO?
He's not far away.
That wasn't what I asked.
Go and get him.
I must say, Mr. Mayor, you're looking very smart with your
Debonair. Debonair is the word, Bob.
It's actually a very historic day. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been a monthly council meeting on Kangaroo Island, either Dudley, Kingscote or Kangaroo Island Council, that's been conducted like this, a full monthly meeting. It's the first time ever, so it's historic.
Yeah.
Okay. And I might add it's a complete pain in the ass, but never mind.
Yeah.
I hope you only do it once.
Sarah.
I've just emailed the elected members a late report.
Yeah, late report on Rex has gone through. So, okay, well, I don't know where the CEO is, but I want to get moving. So I'm going to move into item 12, councillors, resuming the meeting. Those that are muted, can you get unmuted and come back on if necessary? So item 12 is the matter of...
Can we just raise... Sorry.
This is Grimes, what's your problem?
11.6 was 1 and 2 moved together.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, I've already fixed that up.
Thank you.
You're a bit slow.
I am.
Councillor Walker, did you want to burst into words? No, you're muted, Councillor Walker. You're muted. Yep. You're muted.
Yeah, I want to burst into a motion. For number 1, I'd propose Sealer Street.
Okay, can we just work through these and then do the motion, I think? Just suspend. I think probably better if we suspend standing orders because there could be some discussion.
Yeah, I'll move.
Shirley and Peter Denholm, suspend the standing orders. All in favour? That's carried. So number 1, you're suggesting Sealer Street, Graham?
Yeah, I was.
Is there any, Councillor Denholm?
And I'll go for Sealer Street too. I think it's
Does anyone object to Sealer Street? No. All right. Well, let's run with number 2.
Egret Place.
Beg your pardon?
Egret Place.
Egret Place. Yeah.
Consistent with the other bird names in that subdivision.
Yes. People happy with that?
Yeah.
Just speak up if you are. Binky Road, I'm very much in favour of.
Yes.
Those of you who remember, I think I sent out the other day when they first decided to go for a mayor in Kingscote Council, there were 3 Erics stood, Eric Buck, Eric Binky and Eric Wheaton, and Eric won. Eric Binky was the first mayor of Kingsway Council, and he gave the land for Birchmore Bowling Club. Councillor Tickerman, you want to say something? You're muted, Councillor Tickerman. You're muted. Councillor Tickerman, can you hang on, shoot?
We can't hear.
Can't.
You're muted.
Mute.
Councillor Tickerman, you're muted.
We can't hear.
Mute. Oh.
Can I say something eventually?
Ah, yes, we're on.
Now you can in a minute. Now, Councillor Tickerman.
Now, what was I going to talk about?
No, it's just talking about the name. Yeah. I'm Eric.
Mr. Binky had in the early running, what is it? Mr. Binky wasn't just an administrator, he was the first mayor. He was the, previous to that, he was a chairman, is that right, Michael?
I'm not sure he was chair. I think Dudley Kelly was the chairman.
And he was much more than just an administrator, so I thought we'd like to add some words in there to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Councillor Sherman, did you want to make a comment?
Oh, yes, I like the Binky part, but I'm not sure about the road part. It sounds a bit sort of, it's only a tiny little egress, isn't it? I just wonder if there's a better word.
Yeah, it's not a street because it's not in a town. It could be Binky Way or it could be Binky Road or whatever.
I just thought road was a bit plain, and for the length of it, it's probably not so appropriate. But I've only just thought of that.
Well, it's up to what you want to do here, Councillor Walcombe.
As a general principle, I don't favour surnames on roads, particularly when they're difficult to spell and create confusion. But I've had a couple of those with Road A and Road B, so I'm going to shut up.
Yep.
That's where Binky lived, didn't he?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And Robin was his daughter, I remember her.
That's right.
But I just wondered, could we call it Binky Place or something like that?
You can call it whatever you like, but you just need to get it right so we can move on in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that the road doesn't really ring very well for the length of it and for the...
Well, I quite like Binky Way. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. What are you saying, Councillor Tickerman?
I agree.
Binky Way?
Yeah, I'm quite happy.
Binky Way. I'm happy with Binky Way.
Okay.
And he donated that land.
By this time, Eric would have shot down the back door through the mayor's door at the Queenie and brandy and come back. So we'll call it Binky Way. Have a sign up above the door in the Queenscliff, mayor's door.
That's right too, I remember.
Yeah. Okay, Lagoon Track number 4.
Yep, fine.
Lagoon Track, anyone?
Yeah, agreed.
All happy?
All happy.
Yeah, number 5 might cause some consternation. Merchant Road.
Yeah, I'd make another suggestion on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked Southern Cliff Road. You got to remember this area is the narrowest part on the island. Significant. I think in years to come it might become a bit of a tourist attraction to go in there and see that. That's the Southern Cliffs.
So Councillor Tickerman's suggesting it be Southern Cliffs Road. Is there anyone?
I endorse that.
Happy with that.
I like it.
I'm happy.
I think everyone's in favour of that. So we'll change that one. So what we'll come to now is the recommendation. Sorry,
Michael, just before you move on, could you clarify for me, with Road D, that's referred to as Ratcliffe Track, but are we changing the name from Ratcliffe Track to Lagoon Track?
No, it's a different road. Councillor Teasdale, you might want to add.
No, it's a separate road, goes off Ratcliffe Track. So Lagoon Track, off Ratcliffe Track, quite a separate track,
Yeah.
Pretty
good. Thank you.
Would someone like to move, therefore,
Yep.
if we put that recommendation through with Sealer Street, Egret Place, Binky Way, Lagoon Track and Seacliff Road.
The admin's
meeting.
Hang on, sorry. What's the matter, Nikki?
Can we just resume the meeting?
Oh, yes, we will resume the
So
meeting.
moved.
You're quite right. Thank you. Would someone like to move that?
So
Councillor
moved.
Denholm, second to Councillor Pledge with those changes. So let's make sure we got it right, councillors. It's Sealer Street, Egret Place, Binky Road, Lagoon Track and Southern Cliffs
Thinking
Road.
way.
Sorry,
Thank you.
thinking way.
I knew that. I was just waiting to see whether you picked up my mistake.
So
Okay,
moved.
all in
So
favour?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ready?
Now we move on, councillors, to item 13.1. Really, Councillor Walkham, I'm in your ballpark.
Yes, I'll move
Speak
that.
up, please. I'm having trouble hearing you, Councillor Walkham.
I said I'll move that as presented.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Seconded, Councillor Denholm. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Walkham?
Yes, I noticed from the KIPT Stock Exchange reports a lot of this information, and the additional part here was an email we all received from a resident out that way that made a very good point about what happens if Kangaroo Island Plantation Timbers optimism is misplaced and somebody gets left with a large barge sticking on the end of a jetty nobody else is using. So, yeah, it used to be that much of in the South Australian system in terms of assets, infrastructure had to be, such as power lines and that, had to be supply and remove costs paid. I don't see that KIPT have to pay anything from this, but a bank guarantee would do the same thing. So it just provides a potential, if the Sasso government accepts this, a potential to have a condition on this.
I've got a lot of noise coming in from somewhere. It sounds like a chook or a dog or something.
It's a peahen.
Well, can you ask it to pee off?
Well, I did.
Keep going, Councillor Walker.
The thing that's potentially unsightly and very rusty is the barge at the end of the jetty, and I think by KIPT's own admission, it's got to be refurbished every 15 years. So it doesn't look to me as if it's a very robust, long life structure. So, yeah, I think I've said enough there. I think it makes eminent sense to ask for that condition. Whether the Australian government agree or not, I don't know, but I think we should ask.
Okay, seconder was Councillor Pledge, wasn't it? Oh, Councillor Denholm, did you wish to speak, Councillor Denholm?
Yes, just briefly. I was quite delighted when I was aware that Councillor Walker was putting this motion up, and yes, I think that it makes common sense, and I think that we should make our feelings known to the state government on this matter and the relevant ministers. So I fully endorse it.
Is there a speaker against? If not, I shall go back to Councillor Walkham if he wishes to sum up. I think he's probably said it all.
I have done.
I'll put the motion. All in favour? Put your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's carried unanimously, I think. Did anything further on that, Councillor Walkham?
Nothing further. If I could comment, I would like to. I don't know whether the CEO's had any further feedback on the roads that the KIPT want and are messing around with. It would be good to get some further feed in on that rather than be caught off guard with regard to roads. So whether the CEO can chase something up there, that'd be good.
Yes, I agree, Councillor. Mr. Georgopoulos?
Yeah, through the Mayor, they have not approached us or approached any officers of council, but if council would like me to touch base with them, I'm happy to.
Well, I'm glad Councillor there's no motion or debate, but I'm just making the point that all the talks about the port, but we've heard nothing on roads for 12, 18 months. If they think they can walk in, even if they do get approval and hypothetically start up and down the road, we've got another thing coming. So can Mr. Georgopoulos come back on that, please? All right, we'll move on, councillors. Move on to item 13.2, another one from Councillor Walcombe.
Yes, this, as I move it as
stated.
Ordered.
Okay, is there a seconder for it, please?
Yes, I'm quite.
Councillor Teasdale, did you wish to speak in favour, Councillor Walcombe?
Yes, this came up when we had a proposal for a slice of the wharf from KI Mesh has expressed interest down there, and I don't know that I believe they've got a large claim there, but I felt that this was necessary to get it included in the overall consideration of the Kingscote Wharf by DIPTI.
Okay, I don't know whether anyone wishes to speak for or against. I think it's pretty straightforward. So I'll put the motion. All in favour? Put your hands up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's in favour. That's carried. Thank you. Now the next item is correspondence be received for information.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Pledge. Seconded, Councillor Denholm. All in favour? That's carried. Did anyone want to, I just want to pick up on one item if I can, but did anyone have anything else they wanted to pick up on?
Well, there was one of the things is that we had that letter from the Honourable Leon Bignell MP.
Councillor Denholm, you need to turn around and face your computer.
He requested a reply so that he could actually pass that reply on to the person that approached him to write that letter. I just wonder whether we've acknowledged that.
Well, my point would be, and that's why I wanted to thank you for raising that, it's not our business, it's NRM Landscapes Board. We're not responsible in any way, shape or form for the CAP thing. So he needs to deal with the government agency. Quite frankly, I mean, unless anyone sees it differently, I don't.
No, I don't see it differently at all.
No. All right. So, well, I guess the question is to administration, will you write back and tell him that? Okay. All right. Any notification report requests, councillors? No. General business?
We didn't vote. Wait, we didn't vote.
Councillor Shergwin, I've got Councillor Denholm.
I would like to, under general business, I would like to see if we could have a discussion on the Rex letter.
If I just hold you up, Councillor Denholm, that's in the late report that's come through.
Right.
In confidence. Okay.
Point of order.
Yes.
I believe we didn't vote on 15.1.
We did.
15.1.
Yeah, we received it.
Yes, we have voted on it. PA's indicating we've voted on it. Yes.
Whoa, I missed that one.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're not on visual. Item 18 in confidence business. We need to deal with these one by one. So item 18.1, would someone like, hang on, move the appropriate motion. Yes, Councillor Pledge, seconded.
So two things.
Hang on. Councillor Pledge has moved, Councillor Tiggerman seconded.
Right.
All in favour?
Yep.
No, I've got some. Oh, there's a mistake.
I've got Councillor Pledge with a hand up, Councillor Shergwin. Councillor Pledge?
If we're in confidence, the CEO perhaps needs to stop recording.
Switch it off.
About just to do that right now, as soon as we go into confidence.
Thank you.
You're on the ball. Well done. So these are pretty straightforward. This is the 1 and 2 we are moving, and then we do number 3. Okay?
Question.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
I've got a question.
Yes, but I've got moved 1 and 2, and I need that to go through, please. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried. Then what's your question relating to, Councillor Shergman?
My question is related to 18.1.
Sarah?
We just have to move to keep the documentation in confidence.
Someone like to move that? Move Sam, seconded Shirley. Keep the documentation in confidence. Carried? All in favour? Now,
Yeah.
Graham.
Look, I'd just like to compliment Mayor Pengilly and Councillor Churgwin, who, by normal standards, had an exemplary meeting.
we won't record that in the minutes. No, thank you all. It has been a very difficult day from here. I thank you for your input. And I declare...
Can I ask
that
a
might
question?
change, Graham. Yes, Rosalie.
Yes. No, look, I think you indicated at the start of the meeting that this was being recorded.
No, none of that was then.
Oh,
None of
now it is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What? Yes, the CEO said that this meeting was being recorded.
Yeah.
Well, I hereby would like to request a copy of the meeting, like a digital, call those sticks, that's it. Yeah, memory stick with a copy of the meeting on it.
Oh, you can talk to the CEO about that. That may be possible outside my jurisdiction. So I'm actually going to declare the meeting closed.
And is this going to be available for the public?
Yes.
Yes. I've declared the meeting closed. You can waffle on yourselves. So.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Sarah, it is 1 o'clock on Friday, is it? Sarah?
Say good night, Dick.
We're talking about the mayor's.
The mayor, yes.
Yes, that's the yes, Councillor Pledge.
Okay.
We're finished. It's
Yes.
Shirley and Nikki.
Wine.
Yeah, it's 1
Red
o'clock.
wine, Michael, where is it?
1 o'clock.
What's that?
Your red wine. Haven't you got a bottle?
Bugger, I left the key home. Goodbye.
Good night, all.
I'll
Good
end
night.
the meeting now. Yep.
Good night.
Good talking to Sarah.
Sam's got it.
Okay.
Cheers.
See ya.
Well done. Straight from the bottle. Well done. Look at that.
Leave meeting. Well done.
So much better.
Bye-bye.
Right, catch you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Ta-da.